Old Saint Prick. Old Saint Prick.
The GF doesn't get it, man. She just doesn't get it. And I'm wondering if Mrs. DT or if women in general get it, but they don't get guys just drilling each other. She doesn't. Why would he's your friend? It's like, oh, for God's sake, what really? You haven't picked up on this in how many decades? You got brothers. Did you ever hear one man exchange with another man a compliment or a sincerity
in my life?
No. I'm just saying the girls that like, well, I thought Ben was your friend. Ben is my friend. That's why I called him a dick.
They don't get. No. Well, they at least haven't watched Cheers, where the show Cheers. That's all it is. It's people that love each other and are friends, just ripping the hell out of each other the entire time at the bar. That's
especially who was the short gal married to Danny DeVito? What was her?
I can't remember her name.
She was the most
Carla.
vicious.
Carla on the show. Yeah.
Carla, she was the most vicious one of them all.
Yeah.
And I honestly, if somebody, you always gotta put it into context and put it in the environment. Like if you get the silent treatment, like dead silence, then you're hated. That guy, at least anyway, hates you. But then at the same time, you got like, oh wait, are they just getting older? You just don't hear from them, and now they got kids. And then you're like, hey, did I offend you? Did I say something that caused you? No, God, no. We're just really busy. So I'm like, okay, so this is out of my control. But yeah, it's like if I'm with a group of people and somebody doesn't insult men, and then I don't get insulted, it's all of a sudden like, oh shit, something's wrong. Something doesn't go right. And then. Yeah, go ahead.
That's what I learned. I mean, when I was a kid, back to how we were raised, right? We were raised to be good and
nice
that threw me
and fuck off
and all that kind of stuff. And so I had some friends that would do it, but I never really engaged too much in the ripping on other people until, basically swallowing the red pill, until just like, oh, okay, this is actually what you're supposed to do.
I didn't get it. Dude, fuck, no, moms can't raise children by themselves. Fuck all of you. Fuck your delusion. And fuck above all else, you women loving yourself more than your goddamn kids. They need their fucking dads around. And I was heavily skewed. My parents got divorced. I was not raised under a single mom, but for a while I was. And even that 1 year was critical because for the longest time, I thought people picking on me, they actually hated me. And I thought I would like everyone hated. Now, later on, it turned out to be true. People actually did hate my guts, but not all of that.
Not all of them.
No, a lot of them actually liked me. And they were like, hey, Claire, you fucking retard or whatever. And he says I'm a retard. Why does no one like me?
Were you the oldest?
I was the oldest, yeah.
Okay, I think that's a thing with the oldest, though, too, because you're, the oldest is going to rip on their younger siblings, right?
Right.
And I think the younger siblings know, well, the oldest doesn't hate me. It's just ripping on me because I'm younger and stupider and weaker or whatever, and I don't know as much as they do. And so maybe other siblings learn quicker the whole give and take and back and forth.
There's the whole pro and con of being the eldest in your family. One, you don't get anywhere near the financial resources because your parents, you're first. They obviously, the older you get, the more money you have, and if you're the first kid, that you're the poorest kid. So and I've seen it like blatant the little kid, the little princess or our little baby gets college paid for, right? And then the eldest didn't have it. It's like, dude, you can't. Because if that was, at least my parents treated us all equally shitty.
Right.
But if you have such mistreatment, like, the eldest has every right to fucking tell you to fuck off.
But there's also, we're supposed to be responsible. We're supposed to look after our, younger siblings. And I think just, they know, the younger siblings know they look up to the older sibling, and the older sibling's like, hey, you fucking idiot, or whatever that you say. But they know that they love them at the same time. And so I think maybe the older siblings don't get it's what is it? Sparta, right? There was a whole way of raising children in Sparta. Not only did they raise them to be physically able to beat the shit out of each other. But the mental back and forth, the mental sparring, that was a big part of Sparta too, I guess, from what I've heard about history.
Yeah,
so it's not new. It's definitely not new. The sparring is not new.
But being the eldest, you are going to have no choice but to have it set on difficult mode. You're not on easy mode because your parents know what the fuck they're doing.
Right.
There's usually a lack of funds. You're gonna therefore it's almost like an intermediate. You know what it's really like? It'd be like your parents are, like the lieutenants or a captain, and your younger siblings are the enlisted, and you're the sergeant that's got to get these idiots in line. And you don't get a lot of direction from the officers, and so you got to figure it out on your own kind of a lot of time. But in the end, and for whatever drawbacks are to being the eldest, usually because you've had the most pressure, you're the one that turns into the hardest diamond or the most resilient steel or something like that. And then the cushy little easy kid usually becomes a fuck up or something like that. Usually didn't happen in my family. We're all over the fucking map. But yeah, being the eldest, you will come out at least the most jaded, the strongest, and the most resilient, and the most adaptive.
I'm Gen X. My youngest sibling is millennial. So
how many siblings you got? I thought you only had one.
I only have 2 siblings. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But since we're late Gen X, then
we are. I thought we were. They keep changing that on us. I thought, oh yeah, you're one of the first. I'm like, okay, I'm one of the oldest Gen X's. And oh no, you're not really. You're kind of middle. Now I'm young. What the fuck?
I think Gen X is down to like 40 now, maybe 39.
Oh,
and yeah.
They're gonna slowly push us out soon. It'll just be let's just be millennials and boomers, and we'll truly be the lost generation.
We won't have a name. The generation without a name. We're like Clint Eastwood.
We see articles about this Gen X. It couldn't possibly have been. There's no scientific proof they ever existed.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood in the spaghetti westerns. He was the man with no name, right? Just man wandering the desert.
Right.
That's what we are.
The generation with no name.
Generation with no name.
Well, what was I going to say?
What's up today? What's up? Where we got an early morning podcast. This is my second week in a row. I might be giving your fans, your listeners, a little too much DT, a little too much of the old DT.
No, that's not possible.
It's not.
Well, I haven't been podcasting regularly because of this damn book. Hey, have you've seen what's the Bill Murray Christmas show? No, not Christmas.
Scrooge.
Not Scrooge. Sorry, not Scrooge. Groundhog Day. You see Groundhog Day?
Oh, Groundhog Day is great.
Dude, that is so. As I get older, that is such a wise film. Because
it's amazing.
Yeah. I want to watch it. I remember seeing it as a teenager, late teenager. And like, oh yeah, I get that. But it's such a statement about society, how most people just waste their life. What is the difference? And that was the whole point of the movie. How was his life any different between when he was caught in the loop and when he was living his life?
Well, he went through. The most interesting part about it for me is he went through like every stage within that loop that you could possibly go through. Suicidal, hedonistic, and then of course he finally decides, well, I'm going to improve myself as a person. Mm-hmm. Go take piano lessons every day, right. and becomes this. He takes advantage of he lives that day the best he can, even if it does repeat and repeat and repeat. He takes advantage of it. So I don't know, what was your thought?
Well, my thought was, okay, you're focusing when he's caught in the loop. I'm focusing like when he's out of the loop, and everybody else. In other words, for most people, and I do mean 95% of the people out there, it doesn't matter if you're caught in a loop and you live out your life expectancy, living the same day over and over again, or if you actually have new days until you die. Most people don't change their lives.
Right. Yep.
You could be stuck in a loop, or you could live out the rest of your days. It doesn't matter. You're going to do the same shit. I understand you got to work. I understand there's things, you got to eat, you got to take a shit. I understand that. Society is geared that way to kind of have a mass assembly line type of thing for our own survival and production. But even when it comes to your free time, what do? You go to the bar, you get your beer, you hork down your wings, you watch the game. And you're going to repeat that. Most people repeat that until they're dead. And I thought that was the lesson to take away from Groundhog Day.
Yeah, well, he was sort of forced since nothing was changing around him, and we always want to see kind of progress, even if it's just the days ticking away. He was forced to change himself because everything around him was not changing.
Right.
Maybe.
And that's what, and both that lesson and then what I'm experiencing now is, it just made me appreciate, because what I'm doing the past month has been Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
I get up. Well, seriously.
No, I get it. I get it. I saw you sent me all the chapters, so you've been hard at work.
See the production that's coming out. Yeah, no, it's eerie how, and I always kind of knew it in the back of the head, but man, you want to talk about a harsh reminder. Because what I do when I write books, do I like writing?
You say you don't.
I hate it. I hate it. So I want to get it done as quickly as possible. This is going to be around a 350-page book, maybe 400 when I include the chapter or the section for women. But I may postpone that for a separate edition. But the last month, do you know how I knew this? I figured this out like, oh my God, it's been a month.
You're wearing a Christmas hat now?
No, I had to cut a check. I had to pay a bill, and I looked at the date. I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's the 13th. Just this morning.
Yeah.
Like, it's the 13th. I'm like, what happened? And it's the same thing, because you get zoned, you write, and all of a sudden it's time to go to bed. You go. You
don't like that feeling of being in the zone?
I like the feeling of being in the zone, but it's like, you got to be in the zone a long. What's it take for the average person to write a book? 3 years, 4?
I don't think it takes that long. When I was writing, I would try to write at least 3 pages a day. And sometimes I'd write, 6 pages if I was really, running on all cylinders. But I always tried to get at least 3 pages a day. And so, 100 days. So that's I don't know, maybe it's probably, the first draft is maybe half a year, 2/3 of a year. And then you go back and you edit. And I think getting a book done in a year is probably achievable for most people if they actually are doing it. Don't tell that to George R.R. Martin, who takes a decade or so to get his shit done.
Good for him. Yeah, I don't have that time. But yeah, it's I like being in the zone because I know I'm getting it done. But even if I'm on fire, 3 pages a day, that's pretty good. You're talking edited on top of it, where I'm shipping it out to you guys. I'm like, find the typos, and people go, well, I think no. I didn't send you free chapters for you to think. I send it to you to read through the fucking chapters and tell me if there's missing words. Don't you dare tell me what that's why I don't.
So what do you just want typos, or do you want like grammar? Like, this is a confusing sentence?
Yes. If there's some that stands out, just read through it. And if you find like, oh, this is the wrong word, or there's a word missing, let me know. If there's like, a grammar,
if you say wharf down rather than wolf down, then tell you about
yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking. Things where it's like, come on, he used the completely wrong word, or there's a word missing. But or if there's a very lengthy sentence that something that you're like, this didn't read right, then let me know.
So I saw all the titles of the chapters that you sent me.
Right.
And it occurred to me, I wanted to ask you, are you considering changing the title at all?
Of the book?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it just seemed like there was a lot more related to
boomers.
Yeah.
Those are all short chapters. Have you opened them up?
Okay. No, I haven't. I just saw that, it's like an outline when you look at the chapters.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and it's impossible to talk about the millennials without somewhere addressing just what a shitty job and what a shitty generation the boomers were.
I'm just wondering if the title "Okay Boomer" would just get
no. I have a separate book picked out for the boomers if I ever get around to writing.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
so just trust me.
I trust
knows
you.
What he's doing. I don't mean Captain Capitalism. I mean the captain of the ship knows what he's doing.
I know you think about things a lot. I know. I just thought that's sort of my job. It's just to ask a question.
There's once in a while. There's another 15 chapters coming, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, this is not the end of the book. No.
Okay.
That was just the setup. Now we go on.
Okay.
But my whole point, the last month and a half has just zipped by, and you start to like lose it. You start not to feel like you're a human anymore.
Yeah.
You get up, you do this. And so, yeah, I'm happier than fuck for you to come on. And I don't care how many times you come on. I am so You don't see it behind the scenes, but I am so half-assing it in every other regard of my life. Like the blog. I'm like, here's some shit I wrote that fell on the floor and isn't going to make it to the, hey, here you go. Here's an excerpt that's really good. Copy paste. Here's a link to somebody else that spent the time writing it. And then Asshole Consulting is like, we're doing Asshole Consulting live. I don't have time to do it. And now people are like, hey, I want my own video. I'm like, fuck. So, yeah, I think everybody should go through something like this. It could be college. It could be basic training, somewhere you have to seclude yourself. And it is day after day after day after day. And then not only because I think it hardens you as an individual, but then you really appreciate the variety. Like when I am done with this fucking sitting down monk mode, banging out 6 hours of writing, hard writing, and then 3 editing every day. The freedom I'm going to have, it makes you really, it's like Chad Elkins when he doesn't have to work, but he'll go in during summer and work a corporate job. So you can appreciate the freedom that he has when he's not working the corporate job. And,
how much is your anger or hatred towards writing in that you're not actually getting paid for it right now? That this is like an investment, it's not like you got a book contract and you're guaranteed money to write a book. This is an investment. You are writing a book and you're going to put it out there. You don't know how much you're going to make. You hope it's going to be a lot. You've got hopes, but at the same time, it's like, I'm not getting paid for doing any of this right now.
That's not it at all. Cause frankly, I don't need the money. The minimalism is paid off. I'm old enough now. I don't know sports car, and every book I've written, like the first one I wrote to prove how good of an economist I was to predict the housing bubble before it fucking happened. And brilliantly so, I might add. So most of the books I've written, I would have probably written for posterity's sake or for some other non-financial.
See, I told you so. Basically,
see, I told you
so. See, I told you so. Yeah.
Yeah. The Black Man's Guide Out of Poverty, just to have it out there, to be that thorn in the side of parasites and Marxists and Democrats everywhere. Yeah, I mean, the money, sure, yeah, that's certainly been a factor. But no, what I hate about writing is I just hate writing. I hate it.
It's so funny. I mean, the writer who hates writing. I mean,
you know what it's, and I'll tell you exactly what it is. You know what it reminds me of, what it feels like? Except this time I'm trying. It reminds me of school. I'm writing a fucking book report. I'm writing a 350-page fucking book report. And instead of like the half-ass job, oh, dude, DT, I had it down, man. I would just, fucking 4th grade teaching. You're behind 5 book reports. I'm like, fuck you, lady. I can read. So I go to the book, the library. I was going to say the book place. And I'd go and I'd read the back of the book. And then I'd read the last 3 or 4 chapters. And I'd write some really shitty ass. Oh, God, just... I would use numbers. I'd almost use a shorthand because I hated writing so much. Aaron Clary 10-year-old self-created shorthand.
Cave drawings. You're just handing
to the number 2. Like how we text. That's almost how I would write back in 1984. And like, here's your fucking book report, you goddamn school marm. Hope you die of cancer. And now
I just think it's hilarious that you hate writing and you hate reading.
I hate reading. Dude, there's so much more to life
buy
than
my
do.
book. Buy my book. I hate to write and I hate to read.
Okay, but I don't. Here's what I'm not doing. See, I'm not even writing books no more. What I'm really offering is thought and philosophy and independence. And I would above all say economics in the fact that I allocate resources. I am truly, this is one thing I have thought about. I am truly an economist because economics is by definition the efficient allocation of resources. If you look at every book I write, I'm telling people to do what? To manage what most effectively?
Their time, probably.
Their time. This is the ultimate. In that sense, I am at a core an economist. So I am actually doing what I like. It's just the way to convey this information, you got to write. Right. And technically, 2/3 of the, quote, sales I have aren't even books. They're Kindle or they're audio. So right. it's all it is conveying information. And unfortunately, because I wouldn't even have had this opportunity 30 years ago without the internet, the way we do that is you write the piece and then it's sent out other forms of medium, including the written word. And you know, it's just, I don't know. I'm trying.
And everybody needs a book to sell too. You notice when anybody's on a news show or whatever, they're always pimping a book. You know,
well, yeah, because
it's just a part of supporting yourself. It's like you almost have to have a book.
You can. There's other ways. You know, you look at the micro internet celebrity, what we call him. I hate to use the word life coach, but you look at, say, a Rich Cooper, and it doesn't even have to be, you know, our side of the world. The GF loves watching these women review products.
Right,
on
yeah,
the internet.
Kids now we playing with toys. Yeah.
Kids playing with toys, right? For whatever your taste, whatever your flavors, there's somebody out there conveying information. That's all it is. And once again, we could even make the argument economics. Rich Cooper, Rollo Tomasi, they're teaching boys how to efficiently allocate their time. And we can make fun of women all we want. Oh, Tilly, yeah. I mean, the GF is all I heard. We're going to bed last night, and I don't pay one damn bit of attention to Tilly Magoo and her fancy review or whatever. And it's never the same chick. I was like, what are you watching now? Who is that? Oh, I like her. Where's the thousands of other women? Why isn't it the same person? Like, you know, I listen to the same people. How can there be any consistency? So I completely tune it out. Except last night, where all of a sudden she says, so like, this is a double D, but this is an F, a da-da-da. And all of a sudden I'm like, what are you watching? And it's this gal. She's got huge cans and she's reviewing bras. She's got this fancy little thing. I'm like, I'll tune into that. And, but once again, economics, saving women time. Like, oh, hey, before you spend your money, even your time this is what I tried. This is what this gal's an F cup. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll upgrade to an F cup. You know, for my life, I thought double D's was the industry standard. I'm thinking, oh well, that's nice looking over there. But yeah, all it is transferring information and being economic. That's what it is. So you don't even need to have a book.
Well, if you've got F cups, that might have something to do with it.
Well, yeah.
You might not need a book if you've got F cups.
There's a piece.
So we're on Older Brother. I was looking for the stream. We're on Older Brother.
Yeah, we're on Older Brother. Yeah, Older Brother hasn't had a podcast in a while. So, which again, because I'm
actually not. This isn't the second week in a row. I was on Clary podcast before, so this is Older Brother podcast.
It doesn't matter. Older Brother exists to have a completely separate battleship that is a PG-13 version instead of the R version, so that when YouTube inevitably gets to the point that everything has to be rated G. Yes. Aaron said fart on the Clary channel. We have to ban him. Then I have this relatively more squeaky clean USS Older Brother that I could do consulting through Older Brother. You got to here's what is the ultimate? Let me test you here, DT. This goes for everybody listening. We're gonna everybody. Old Cappy about to lay down some wisdom. All right. You ready, DT?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm just listening.
Pins and needles. All right.
Mm-hmm.
What is the true finishing line of retirement planning for Americans? I'm going to include women in this too, because women have to save up money, even though only 3% of the people tuning in now. Well, everybody listening, everybody's American. If you do retirement correctly, what is the final finish line?
When you're dead.
Okay, while you're still alive, let's not get that esoteric and philosophical.
Well, you need enough money until you're dead.
Okay, define enough money. Show me, what's your investment portfolio?
Yeah, you got to look at your quality of life and your, how much you need to experience whatever quality of life you want, and that'll determine how much you actually need in cash flow.
What is the purpose of retirement savings?
Well, it's to make sure you don't have to work
until you're dead, right?
Yes, yeah.
So it's an insurance policy against expenses from the time you stop working to the time you're dead, right? We got this time we got to cover. I'm going to squirrel away some money. That is my insurance policy. I will not run out of money, right? You follow me so far?
Yes.
Can things happen that are bad?
Absolutely.
All right. So how much insurance do you need? What's your investment portfolio going to look like as to provide caveats for some things that you could predict and expect to happen?
Well, you gotta put things into things that can't get rated for health reasons. There's certain investments that they can't go after.
Trusts, right? Yep. Okay, all right.
And so then once you got that covered, then you go for your daily expenses. But those things could maybe be rated if you are suddenly an invalid or have to go to a nursing home or whatever.
Who's going to do the rating?
The government.
Oh, the government. So
it's insurance against.
Okay.
Insurance against the government.
Well, can the government take the 401k?
I think they could take anything they want, pretty much.
They want. Yeah. So where do you got now? What? See, everyone thinks, I squirrel $250,000 away in my IRA or my 401k or 403b or whatever. And I got my Social Security. And you know what? If you get to that level, you're in the top 5% of Americans.
You're doing very well.
You're doing very well. Not because you're lucky or you're rich. You just had your head out of your ass.
Yeah.
That's not enough because the government can take it. So what do you got to do?
You got to downsize and minimize and become this.
Okay. You could
become this sleek, efficient machine with a walker.
Not thinking outside the box enough. If you really want to make sure, what else I'm going to give you a hint.
Well, you could put things overseas. Yeah. But they could take it too.
No, not if you put it in a bank that has no U.S. interests, no U.S. holdings.
But what if it's a bank that in that country they'll? I mean, yeah, there's countries that are better than the U.S. that will honor their obligations better than the U.S., I think.
Right. Okay. But my point is this.
But I'm a nihilist, and it all can get taken if they wanted to take it.
Well, I like to make sure that they don't, because it's either Aaron's living in a jail cell or Ocasio-Cortez takes my house or all my life's work. I'm not going down like that. I'm going to have, well... No, because you want to talk about a game the government can win. I'm not going against the United States military.
No.
And it has been made very clear to me that quote unquote people on my team can't even show the fuck up to learn how to clean a gun. All right. No. So there's not going to be enough numbers. My tribe is going to be a bunch of fat, soft, quote unquote Republicans in names only. We're like, oh yeah, let's stop. It's like, well, take that position over by that hill. Oh, and then I can just see, you're too fat to go run up that hill, aren't you? Why don't you stay here in the valley and get overrun by the infantry that's coming in? So what
have you seen what's going on in Virginia right now? Just a little sidebar because it's related.
Yeah, I do like to see
what you just said.
Yep, I like that. That's
75 out of 95 counties in Virginia are telling the state house, go fuck yourselves. You're not going to take our guns.
Nope. Yeah. Nope. And God bless them. God bless them. And that's one of the very few, but that's not enough. That's not enough. And so what I have to do, very much like the USS Older Brother, I need a completely separate battleship for retirement. Now, I don't need it. Whether that comes to fruition or not is another thing. But everybody out there, if you want to insure against the government stealing and raiding your retirement or your savings or your house, which is a very possible thing. Very possible, because you got fucking Cortez, you got fucking Sanders, although he'll be dying relatively soon. But more importantly, these are people who are just they're a symptom of a group of the population that thinks they're just entitled to shit. They are parasitic. And so if there's enough of them, they'll vote in, well, we could take away your house because you got the penite privilege and you got the white privilege. So, and since all the conservative libertarian types are a bunch of cucks, all right, I got to go. You all got to go have a plan B.
Yeah.
And so what you really need is you need a little plot of land somewhere in Portugal. You need a little plot of land, maybe in Hungary. I don't know. Maybe you got a villa or not a villa. What's a small little apartment called? A flat. You have a flat in Phuket, Thailand. All right. And then you have some money squirreled away in an offshore bank account or cryptocurrency that you go and you convert into. I used to know what the currency of Thailand was. The bot, I think is the Thai bot. Yeah, the bot. You convert it to bot, and then Cortez gets your house and the parasites are filled in it, and you're sitting there drinking your margarita, working on the internet, and you can sustain yourself. You could continue on. And so that is what, if you really want to do retirement right, you have a completely separate battleship you can retreat to when all the parasites and the communists come to take your boat.
Sure.
And that's what it is. That's how much it is. So yeah, I don't need to work, but yeah, you're damn right. I like one book. I just need one book to go viral. Right. Where I make, if I made $1 million, that's more than enough. I mean, after tax, more than enough. But I need like maybe 500,000, 2 retirements, essentially, $250,000 each, $250,000 for here, $250,000 overseas.
Right.
And then I'm golden. Then I'm as insured against every likely thing that's going to happen, including government confiscation. And then I can really just get the fuck out of Dodge if I want. The real issue is whether they try to keep me at the border, in which case, yeah, then the guns do come out.
Yeah, I think there's always, you have to, I mean, I don't think I'll go as far as getting like overseas stuff. I prefer to just make sure that there's stuff that I have that the government doesn't know that I have.
Right.
And that's there. You still can do that. It's called little gold and silver shops.
Right.
And you go pay cash and none's the wiser. And, so there are ways to hide. That's why cash is so important. I mean, if we ever go to a cashless society, and that's one thing that cryptocurrency is going to bring about. At cryptocurrency, the right kind of got played on that one. I mean, you're going to be a part of a system that tracks every transaction you make. Oh, that's a good idea. So I think that'll be the last death rattle of freedom, is if they ever get rid of cash or some kind of cash equivalent. But then, yeah, people will just take gold and silver. I mean, there's going to be some way that people are going to want to freely exchange trade goods and services with each other without the government having its nose in their business. So.
The problem is, if it gets to that is going to be such a hindrance on the economy and the free flow of exchange of goods and services. You're going to have a big crippling recession. You're going to have and it'll be permanent. But because it won't come back until you get to the point we can do electronic transactions and have that kind of accounting. There's you just cripple it. And what's sad is, you think Ocasio-Cortez is smart enough to know that?
No.
Fuck politics. No. I'm talking about just simple raw intelligence to understand, not even basic economics, some simple logic. Bernie's saying like we should have a free job for everybody. It's like, dude, have you thought anything through in your life?
Well, that's what I mean. If they're going around seizing and confiscating people's homes, it's freaking almost Mad Max territory anyway. I mean, what's the incentive then to do anything if they can just come in and take your house? So
fine. You took my house to what? Sell for worthless currency to buy nothing in the stores. The communists end up shooting themselves in the foot. It's like, oh great, the government owns everything in Venezuela. To what? There's no toilet paper to buy. I mean, that's why you have to go overseas to get it. Like, who's the dictator in North Korea? I forget. It's the newest, fattest child of the previous
Kim Jong-un or Kim Jong-il or whatever.
He's got to go overseas to get Nintendo and food and everything else. But yeah, I mean, okay, so he gets that. But the country itself, there's nothing to buy. Venezuela, you got nothing to buy. So really, I mean, in that
really interesting thing about homes is that, I mean, if you look at the big mansions that the big rich people have bought in the past, there's not really a market for them because the maintenance costs are so high. Because it's people just think that, these homes are valuable because they're valuable. No, it takes a lot of upkeep to keep them valuable. And if you're gonna go around and confiscate people's homes, these things are all gonna go into disrepair and not be worth shit. So
Minneapolis, there you want to see something funny. Minneapolis, we're jacking up taxes 7%.
Yeah,
this is on top of when they said, they passed a law saying you cannot refuse to take an application from someone from Section 8,
even if they're a felon or whatever. Yeah.
Well, no, maybe there was the felon clause in there, but they said you didn't have to approve them, but you could not reject their application, which actually ends up hurting the Section 8 applicants more because you got to pay for an application fee.
Okay,
so it's like you're doing them a favor. So we don't take Section 8. Don't waste your $35 or whatever it is.
True. Yeah,
and that's what I would do. I'm like, no, we don't take Section 8. Save your money, because So it actually ended up hurting the poor more than anything else. Then they refuse. Now you can't build homes, standalone homes. It has to be apartments.
Yep, that's
there's
right.
no more and then I think they made it where now you have to. I think you got to take Section 8. And
everybody has to take the application, or it has to actually.
I think you have to you can get sued now. Whatever. Okay. I'd have to relook it, but it went one step above, and now it's like you don't own your home. And you know what's going to happen to home values? They're going to go shit down because you're paying rent to the government. Yeah. Now you have a legal liability housing the degenerates of our society and the parasites of our society, and the ones, and forget whether degenerates or parasites. People are going to fuck up your house and destroy your investment. That's what's going to. So there's no economic value. You're buying a liability. I said that 10 years ago. You're buying a liability.
Though it's a stimulus when these pieces of shit rent your house, they destroy it, and you have to go to Home Depot and buy a bunch of stuff to fix it up. It's literally the broken window fallacy.
It is. But you know what's great?
What?
Who's suffering the most now?
Oh, poor people.
Well, poor people again, yes, but liberal homeowners in the Twin Cities.
Yes, right.
It's just, and stupid investors like, oh, we got to get in on this hot market. And I'm like, are you fucking nuts? I even had a buddy. He owned an apartment building in Minneapolis. I'm like, are you fucking nuts? He's like, what? I'm like, get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Sell your, do you have a capital gains? Are you all right? Well, yeah, I'd make a pretty good profit. I've been thinking about it. I'm like, get the fuck. And then all of a sudden they started passing those laws and he sold it. And he's like, dude, that was a good idea. Thank you. I'm like, yeah.
Well, who do you think sweeps in and buys things for pennies on the dollar? Speaking of Christmas and It's a Wonderful Life, this whole time of year, who sweeps in and buys things for pennies on the dollar when regulations and government destroy the value of everything?
I don't know. The government, some kind of nonprofit agency?
Rich people.
No, they don't. They have to have if you're a smart rich, look, venture capital groups, Blackstone Capital is not going to go into the Twin Cities and just start buying up properties where you pay out a third of your cash flow in rent out to property taxes.
No, not right now. I'm saying after they've destroyed everything and realize, oh shit, we need to start having incentives now for rental property. That's when the big boys come in and they buy up everything and they get all those government free goodies. And
maybe. So now we're in crony capitalism.
What I'm saying is that these idiot leftists, they don't realize that when they destroy everything, they're trying to destroy things because they want to get at the rich people.
Right.
You can never get at the rich people. They always find a way.
Right.
That's why they're rich.
Yeah. Well, and I don't even think that opportunity exists as much as you think it does.
Well,
because if that was the case, Detroit would have been turned. Because Detroit, you can buy properties for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, right.
But again, you're engaging in a contract with an opposite party, and that opposite party is the municipality of Detroit, which is notorious for jacking up their property prices, not sending in enough cops, siding with people that want to destroy your property, essentially not protecting property rights, and having all these rules and regulations about, well, you got to do this and you got to do that, and people with the money like, fuck it, I'm gonna go down to Tennessee or Houston or Alabama and buy properties where I can actually make a profit.
Right.
So I don't think
there's that. Poor dad. Isn't the rich dad, poor dad kind of, he's made all of his money on rental, right?
Right.
Properties.
Right.
And he said, I saw him one time and he said, well, I'm just investing in what the government encourages, which is people being able to live in a piece of property. And so the way he was making it sound is that at a certain point, Detroit obviously is not there yet, but at a certain point, it becomes very profitable to provide the housing that the government wants.
The only way
incentives or
right. That's the only way. And now we're going to crony capitalism. Now, who gets those sweetheart deals? It's the buddy of Mark Dayton. It's the buddy of the mayor. It's the cousin of the council person in District 5 or whatever. That's who get, and then they bitch and whine. Was like, usually those crony capitalists are Marxist leftists because they're contributing to the, well, maybe not Marxists, but they're opportunists. And they're contributing to the campaign fund, so they get the kickbacks. But by that time, now it's kind of a quasi-government housing. It's not as good as you'd think it would be.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. No. And that's not open and free. Well, let's say you're regular Joe. You're a black dude on the north side of Minneapolis, and you want to start investing in property. in the Twin Cities. You want to help your community because you actually believe that shit. Does he stand a chance if he doesn't have a connection with it? No, he doesn't.
Not at all. Because all the leftists will punish him when they want to punish the big boys, the big rich people, and it's rope-a-dope. They just don't understand that every move that they make just empowers and makes the rich people even richer. I mean, they don't get it.
No, so I don't know where we're going with that, but yeah, that's why you
stop that rant. Yeah,
I'm just saying that's why you have to invest. I mean, if you're going to do it right, you really want to insure against everything. You gotta have a little bit overseas. You have to have like a life raft overseas.
But like you said, we all die eventually.
I know, but like, I like serenity. I like calm. I like peace. It's just I don't have expensive tastes. I'm in a pretty good position. This book, I'm kind of hopeful, but it would not surprise me. I've said it before. It would not surprise me if all of a sudden this makes it to a New York Times list. Because it is that well written, it is that controversial. Although I don't know. Have you even read any of the chapters I gave you?
No, I haven't yet.
Well, okay, never mind. And you could have verified or denied, like, nah, Clary, this is shit. Or like, oh yeah, I might have. But I think the topic and then the writing and everything else, this might be. We're all of a sudden Cappy now got a little bit of money in his pocket. I'm gonna go bust some tags, and then I might buy myself a little piece of land in Portugal. People kept recommending Portugal.
You got a marketing plan to, try to get on podcasts.
Yeah, I don't want. No, I got my regular crew, my posse of dudes and dudettes. I've found anybody else who's an aspiring author. Here's the best use of your money. Don't run ads. Save your money and pay some key people the extra money to read and review your book.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I've found. So like, I'll probably just advertise with Rich Cooper. And a lot of these guys will just promote it for free. But if you want something serious that's going to, because, hey, here's this book and it's just a commercial, no one follows it. But if someone reviews your book and gives their opinion of it, that is a much more effective way. I have some pretty sizable contacts within the not mainstream media, the internet media. And then there's other tactics I have involved.
Who's the most popular millennial podcaster right now? Would
James
it be
Franco, maybe? Is that the guy's name?
Who's the PewDiePie? Is he a millennial?
PewDiePie, yeah. PewDiePie is probably the more. Yeah, he is younger.
I mean, if you could get in front of that guy's eyes, hey, I'm making fun of you here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The confrontationalism is part of the advertising to make it controversial.
Right.
My best. What was the best week in all my career so far?
It was probably Mad Max, right?
It was Mad Max, where the world hated me more than the guy that shot Cecil the lion.
Right.
And that all started with the Mary Sue, not the Peggy Sue. I'm like, that's a song. Yeah. There's a website called the Mary Sue, and she's a leftist feminist Marxist. And she thought she was hurting me. And I won't lie, I've written some other articles where I'm like, well, I'd like a repeat of that. Right. And so I've set up fake female email accounts, and I've emailed the Mary Sue. I'm like, look at this dickhead. Oh, what a jerk. And then she either didn't find it newsworthy or she knew and didn't bite. I'm like, damn it. I was just like, that. So I do have that, use your enemies against you. And that's probably the number one variable or determinant when I choose what book am I going to write is I'm not going to write something that is just happy and dopey, and it has to piss off people.
Yep.
So it has to and it has to have value to another group of people. So if it's controversial and I launch it, Worthless was kind of the same thing there, where it's like, yeah, your degree is worthless. I mean, people get their tits in a bundle over that, and this would be the same thing. I'm sadly it takes it takes a savvy millennial to know that the book actually is intended to help them.
Right.
But I'm banking on the fact that the vast majority of millennials are brainwashed to be perpetually and always offended. Even though they're now approaching the age of 30 on average, they are still petulant little children, and I'm banking on them being offended, and I'm banking on them throwing rage about it, because it is a very damning analysis, not even accusation, analysis of the millennials. And again, the whole point is, look at this. Do you guys want to become like this? Look at this. It's like, look at the freak show. Oh my God, the horror. No, you'll never want to sleep. You hide your children's ears, boys and girls, cover their eyes. I present to you the millennial. And people scream, I don't want to major in sociology. No, Dad. Look at its ugly horror. My God, this abomination that God allowed to create. And that's kind of the P.T. Barnum kind of approach to it. So
see, I see you like those the preachers that go to the college campuses. At least when I was going to college, there were these guys that would always set up shop a couple times a year, and they always got the big crowd because you're all going to hell. Yeah, and they're being controversial and they're condemning people. And even back then, I was kind of like, it would be really clever if these people actually didn't think that. And they were just acting that way to lure people in to then get them to think about God and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
No, they were that crazy. They were
that crazy. Yeah.
My reaction was to think more about God, but they were just there to get on their high horse and condemn us.
They were there because no church would take them, and they don't actually have a real degree in divinity. That's why they're not ordained pastor. Yeah,
you're the bullhorn. You're the bullhorn. You're bullhorning. That's
no,
what
it's not. It's a much more nuanced approach to it. And this isn't to pick on millennials. This is any human. How do you really piss off a human?
How do you really piss them off?
What's the biggest way to insult somebody?
Well, to get them to look in the mirror, probably.
Okay, but not even that much. Do I attack them and yell at them and say you're all gonna burn? And I've done that. I had a seminar at University of Minnesota Duluth where I was warning people about worthless degrees, and the looks I got, DT. They thought I was this precious dumb old man. I mean, if they could have said "Okay, boomer," if that was a hashtag, they would have pat me on and said "Okay, boomer," because they just thought, "Look at this funny guy." And that was, 10 years ago. I wonder how many of them wish, that crazy guy was right. But
tell me how to truly piss somebody off.
You ignore them, but you talk about them while they're in the room.
Okay.
That's what I'm really doing with the millennials. I'm like, see that? I go over to this Gen Z kid. Hey, kid, come here. See that guy over there with a cup in his hand asking for a bailout for stupid student loans? You don't want to become like that guy.
It's like the scientific presentation where the person in the audience is like, holy shit, this guy's talking about me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
this might be me. You realize halfway through, first it's like, oh, okay, this is interesting. Oh yeah. Hey, well, it would suck to be them. Oh shit. That's shit.
Right. But this is the, whether it's negative attention or positive attention, you take the absolute value of it.
Okay, yeah, sure.
The girl you're sending flowers, she takes attention. She takes value from that. The girl you're saying, how dare you break up with me? Why? That's attention. She's going to take the absolute value of it, even though it's negative. And anyone, not just millennials, it's the same way. But if you really want, see, if I say, look at those stupid millennials that majoring in dumbass shit. They're gonna say, look at that funny guy who's ignorant and racist and sexist and has privilege and whatever else their mind virus has trained them to deflect criticism. You could say, oh God, I hope you could do anything, and then the millennials do this because you're stroking them off and they love nothing more but it. But if you treat them like a zoo animal, look at the lion, look at that thing, look at how it's eating its meat. You see that, Bobby? Bobby, do you want to be a lion eating meat like they're like, hey, excuse me, I'm a sentient human being. And then you're like, you don't even pat him on the head saying, sure you are. It's like, God, look at how he's fucking up over there.
It's like a dispassionate criticism. Just kind of.
Right. You're not even human. You're not sentient. You are now a subject of conversation. You're to be studied like apes in the jungle. Or even millipedes. And look how the millipede moves about. See how it's eating shit? Do you want to eat shit when you graduate from college, Jimmy? Well, then don't major in the liberal arts. Like they're not even part of the conversation, let alone the solution.
You are the art critic sitting there in the studio or whatever, looking at the banana duct tape to the wall and stroking your chin and going, And pointing things out.
Right. So that is the controversy that I'm banking on. And unlike when people say it, this, I actually do mean it, because this would be the appropriate use of the phrase. This might start a conversation among the country about whether we want to keep destroying future generation after future generation after future generation's youth and lives, among other things, sending them to worthless colleges, worthless degrees, all these other mistakes. And so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But hopefully, $500,000. And then old Cappy's got himself a little plot of land outside of Lisbon, Portugal. And I sit there in my flat.
Say, did you have any topics, or could I bring up a topic?
You may bring up a topic. Go ahead.
What is related to millennials and their student loan debt?
Let me do this. Let me get some sponsors out of the way here real quick.
Sure.
Daybydaycartoon.com. Visit my buddy Chris Muir if you need a little bit of a laugh, or you want to read through. Basically, it's a webcomic. It is the longest running conservative webcomic out there. Daybydaycartoon.com. One of the coolest guys ever, Chris Muir. The rules: reclaiming your freedom, your manhood, and your sanity. You could go that by going to Von Gobel Rules, VONGOBLE rules.com. MGTOW's Guide to Retiring on $200,000 in Southeast Asia. You can go to MGTOWbooks.com. Use the promo code Aaron to get that book. Get 10% off. If you are interested in going to Southeast Asia and you've kind of had your fill with Western women, check that out. MGTOW's Guide to Retiring on $200,000 in Southeast Asia at MGTOWbooks.com. NickSchulander.com. He has been kind enough to throw me lots of money to promote his digital marketing services. So if you need digital marketing services, go to NickSchulander.com. And then The Science of Mastering Women. You can find that book on Amazon.com. It's written by Linda Gross, who also hosts the Men's Advocate Show. Aaron, where do I find it? It's called Google Search, The Men's Advocate Show by Dr. Linda Gross. You can find her book online as well. And then The Pence Principle, which I have right here. Makes a great book, great Christmas gift, very short read, more essay, I guess. Written by Randy Bentwick about how basically not to get Me Too'd, how to protect all your investments. DT, remember, like you might have made a very wise move there, getting married early and being a homebody. Well, imagine if you're going out and about and dating nowadays. All your engineering money would have gone away.
Chance and choice. I made a lot of good decisions, but I got lucky too. So
well, see, you saved yourself such bullshit and headache not dating and not going to nightclubs. You so avoided such shit.
Well, if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't have had one itis, but I would have just. I mean, there's nothing wrong with just being friends with people and having fun and not having expectations. I mean, I think that's the big issue is just what your expectations are. And if you got zero expectations, whatever happens is going to be great, right?
Yeah. No, I know this may shock you. Am I already assertive and forceful enough? Do you think maybe?
Yeah. You're not very passive aggressive. No,
I'm not passive aggressive. No, I'm not really. You weren't joking, right?
No, I'm not joking. You're not.
Yeah, I'm straight up. I would have been even more assertive dating women. Like the first thing I would have been like, if you're not going to show the fuck up, don't even fucking give me your number. I would have been like right up front. And I would have said, yeah, you know what? We're going to have sex. If you don't like that, go fuck off. I mean, it would have been the soup Nazi. It would have been soup. And yes, my dating would have gone down to nothing. But the handful of women I would have had would have actually showed the fuck up on time. I would have just been absolutely like, fuck you. No, you're going to meet me at the coffee store where I'm going to be sitting working. And then maybe we'll go like there. I would have remember that's right. You never dated. There was a time where it's like, yeah, let's meet for dinner. I'll come pick you up. You never had that experience. We had to go pick a girl up.
I mean, yeah, I've been on a few dates here and there. Sure.
I thought you only dated your wife.
No, I dated some other people, but it wasn't very much. I mean, It wasn't a relationship. So
yeah, that doesn't happen anymore. God bless the millennials and Gen Zers on that. They don't go pick people up. You don't pick up your date. Did you when you drove to pick the girl up, was she living at home?
Yeah.
So you had to meet the parents, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, were you a kid or were you an adult?
Yeah, I mean, early college, late high school.
You were an adult.
Yeah.
You were an adult. Yeah. No, I remember that. The last time, I think I was 30 or 31. I picked up. You remember Crystal? Not the person, not Crystal, the woman, but the town of Crystal.
Yes. Yeah.
I was dating this gal. She lived in Crystal, which to other people listening, Crystal is it's a neighborhood. It's a living community. It's a
bedroom community. Yeah.
Yeah, a bedroom community. And it's not a suburb-ish. It's one of the first suburbs of the Twin Cities. I think it does border Minneapolis proper, right on Highway 100. Atham looked that up. And so it was just weird. A 25-year-old, a 26-year-old would live there. And I'm on my way to pick her up. I'm like, well, this is kind of weird. Usually they're downtown or they're in the suburbs or something like that. This doesn't make any sense. So and then I knocked on the door, and guess who answers?
Her mom or something.
Old man. I'm like, oh, and it was night. It was nighttime. It wasn't too early, but it wasn't. It was getting later. I think it was like 8:30 or 9. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. I think I have the wrong house. He's like, oh no, are you Aaron? I'm like, and then in that second, I'm like, oh fuck, she lives with her parents. And so here I am, a 31-year-old guy, thinking it's 1989 all over again, where I'm sitting in the room looking at their parents. So what do you do? I'm a banker and ballroom dance instructor. Well, Amy or whatever her name was, she'll be ready in a second. Do you want any like coffee or a tea or soda pop? And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. Which was a sign, DT. It was a sign of things to come for the other generation, where everyone would be living at home into their 30s.
That's very traditional, though. It's very, I mean, back in the day, people dated a lot younger. They courted a lot younger. They got married a lot younger. And so you had to meet the parents, right? I mean, that's
I suppose
you look at all the old movies and it's always the parents there. And
that was
guy. And,
that was 40 years from before then.
I'm just saying it's traditional. All these trad cons, right? All these people
no.
Bring
That's
back
not traditional.
tradition.
That's our daughter majored in the wrong fucking shit and still has to live at home. That's what that was. Now, thankfully, parents are still married. Got to applaud it to that. Nuclear family. Father was there. Nice parents. Nothing wrong with it. But of course, and then she blew me off. I that was a mistake. I took her to Rossi's Blue Room. You ever go there when you were in the Twin Cities? All right, this is like
you're asking me here.
I don't know. I forgot. You don't leave your 5-mile perimeter of that. Well, anyway, I took her to this very expensive place that I forgot was a very expensive place. The only reason I knew of this place was because it was a really good jazz club. I'm like, I'll take her. We'll just get food there. And all of a sudden the bill was like $110. I'm like,
ooh,
fuck.
Back then?
Yeah. And she was then giving me like the cold treatment, like just pulling teeth. And I'm like, fuck, and I didn't want to go out with her again, and she never called me again, so it was agreed. But it's like, God, I could have just taken her to McDonald's. My point is, there's no longer that investment of time or money. You don't pick a girl up. You don't go to their house. You don't meet their dad. It is, and I applaud all you Gen Z boys, you millennials. This is one of the few bright spots, in addition to microbrews, one of the few bright spots of the younger generations. These boys figured it out. If for any other reason they don't have the money, we will meet for coffee.
Meet someplace. Huh?
We will meet someplace where I can do my own shit. And if you decide to flake, that's cool. I can still pound away on my internet, write something or do my work or whatever, and have myself a coffee, still have a good time. You boys are so smart. They become flake proof. The young men of today have flake proof themselves. You know what a great advancement and achievement that is?
Yeah, it saves you a lot of frustration for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But they should devote that saved energy towards something good. I think your book says that they're not.
No, they're not. But look, at least they didn't waste their time. Right. I mean, dude, do you know what a pain in the ass that was and an opportunity cost where you had to drive to pick someone? Okay, Atham, look this up. DT, how far is Coon Rapids from Minneapolis?
It's enough. It's far enough, especially nowadays.
Yeah, it's distant. So a gal, here I am. Okay.
Highway 10 is terrible as well. God. So
I didn't do that. I did 252 up the river because that's where this girl. She lived almost to Champlin. But anyway, for people who don't know, back in the day, we're talking way the fuck up north, where it was ending up becoming farmland. is a town called Coon Rapids area. And this gal who was in my class, older non-traditional student, she says, I got to set you up with my niece. And dumb 21-year-old Cappy like, okay. No. And because I wasn't busy, DT, right? I didn't have anything going on. Right. Resources were ample, right? Back when I was 21, right?
Yeah, you weren't just fighting to survive at all, as we've been told.
So this gal lives at home at 20. Lives all the fucking way in Coon Rapids. I take a Friday off. It was summer. I remember I go to school during summer, so I didn't have to, because I hated school. I drive all the fucking way up there. Now, I had worked my ass off and became the first Clary in history to own a convertible. It was a small, dinky piece of shit, but by God, it was a convertible. And I'm like, okay, here we go, Claremeister. This is what you've been training for. You got good grades. You make good money. You work over at the police department as a campus cop. You got reputation. You got your car. You know where to go. So I drive all the way up to Coon Rapids. I drove all the way back down to the Twin Cities because I'm going to take her to First Avenue. But then I want to show her with the top down, the skyscrapers. Okay. That was one of the greatest things I remember being a young man is when I got my convertible I put the top down and you could look up, drive downtown and see the skyscraper. I'd even throw my buddy the other here. You drive. I want to look at this. We get approaching to downtown, the exit on Washington Street. Atham, look this up. We get to Washington. No, not Washington. We go right up to where there's the IDS Tower and the Wells Fargo Tower.
Yeah.
Guess what she starts doing?
She starts complaining about the wind, maybe in her hair. Or
freaks out. Not like throwing a tantrum. She just gets really nervous. I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, I don't feel good. Can we go back home? And I'm like, what? I mean, and you gotta trust me on this. I wasn't acting freaky or weird. She was just so secluded, so pampered. She didn't like being downtown.
She was a female DT. She was a female DT. What am I doing downtown? Oh, it's scary.
I was like, I'm going to take her to Blues Alley. I'm going to take her to First Avenue. I know. And I did. At the time, I knew where all the cool spots were. And I had to turn the car around, drive her ass all the way back up to Coon Rapids, and then come back home. And that doesn't happen anymore. Thank God. You boys go to the coffee store, you sit there, you listen to her drone on about her feminism and her worthless degree or whatever the fuck it is, or a career, whatever. And you're like, okay, thank you very much. Yeah, maybe we'll go get a drink now and bye. That you boys are so far ahead, not having these women flake on you. And you know what? Have women, I know you don't like talking about this, but have women really honored their side of this equality bargain?
No, of course not. No. It's you know, that's
they
not
want
a
all the
standard.
rights, not the responsibilities.
Yeah, it's cake and eat it too. Yeah,
right. That we have achieved parity in that regard, and that is the first dates. I think the men have achieved that because it's kind of like marriage. I think we've also achieved parity there because men always propose. And so men are proposing less and less and less because women aren't going to propose. So we still have all the power on that one, and marriage rates go down, things like that. But I think one of the rare victories, but a very clear victory, a very large hill that I think young men have captured, is that we have achieved equality when it comes to the first date because men aren't driving 30 miles one way, 120 after 2 round trips to pick girls up and take them to restaurants anymore.
Yeah, they don't have the money. They don't have the money to do it.
They don't have the car.
Affirmative action and stuff.
Yeah, there's traffic. Well, I mean, there's other environmental factors that provide a great deterrent from doing so. But I think there's also a piece like, yeah, no, let's meet for coffee first. And yeah, you girls missed it. It was a great time. Guys would take you to dinner. They try and charm you and woo you. They
it's called wooing. Yeah, there's no wooing anymore.
Yeah, there's no wooing. And now it's like an interview.
There's no reason to. I agree with you that the whole wooing idea, trying to convince, trying to seduce, trying to do all that. It's too dangerous now. It doesn't work most of the time, and so in a weird way, the terrible advice of just be yourself is what is happening.
Right.
And, and since they don't have any other options, it's for however much it's working.
Yep.
Which isn't much.
You know what? It's no longer happening.
What's no longer happening?
They're no longer tickling their fancies. No, remember that? Right. Oh, he tickled her fancies. That right. I mean, he got her to laugh.
Right.
And dude, well, again, see, damn it, DT, I wish you dated more. There'd be times you'd be on fire. That's how you told the girl that you could tell the girl liked it. She'd laugh at your jokes. You're tickling her fancies.
That's the first clue is if they laugh at every stupid joke you say, which then can get annoying. So girls need to understand you don't be too aggressive with laughing at jokes. But if you're doing your fair share of laughing at jokes, the guy should understand, oh, this chick likes me. So.
Well, but I always thought you had to get her, like, you don't want the girl to fakely laugh at your jokes.
But see, that's the point. If they like you, it's like you said.
Yeah.
We as young men were always surprised when someone actually liked us.
I agree.
Like, oh, this woman actually wants to be with me.
Almost to the point you wouldn't recognize it.
yeah. You don't recognize because you're not trying to woo. You're not trying to make her laugh. You're not trying to do anything, and yet she still is laughing and wants to hang around and shows up at your door.
Why are you here?
I mean, I had a girl show up at my door and like, hey, and she wanted to hang out, and I was like, well, I thought she was with this other guy. I'm like, well, he's not here right now. I guess you can hang out with me until he gets back. And she was there for me, and I had no idea.
I ever tell you the time I was working security, and we'd walk girls home, and we'd have regulars, and the gal wanted to know if I'd help her drive to La Crosse. No. I ever tell you that story?
No.
Oh God, you want to talk about dumber than fuck? Regular, a lot of the nurses they get off at like midnight or 1, and you knew that if the shift came off at 1, so a lot of guys, you just go by the medical complex, about 12:45, because there'd be 3 or 4 gals, and you'd have your regulars, so this was a regular. I think she was 25, and our schedules matched all the time that I was the guy that regularly walked her home. So I knew I don't know, Amy, Bobby, whatever her name was. And so it was upcoming on Memorial Day weekend. And she's walking and we're talking. She says, well, I have bad news. I'm like, what's that? She's like, well, I graduated and now I got a job in wherever, Texas, just she was going away. And this is my last night being walking. I'm like, oh, that's too bad. Well, we're going to miss you and this and that. It has been fun and wish you the best. And she says, well, do you have any plans for Memorial Day weekend? I say, well, I picked up extra shifts because we get, holiday pay on Memorial Day. And then if you can get up to 40 hours, you get 2.25 time because it's overtime and you're getting holiday pay. So I picked up some extra shifts then. I said, what do you got doing? She's like, oh, I'm going to go down to La Crosse. I'm like, oh, good. What's down? Oh, my family's there. I'm like, oh, that's nice. And so we're walking and she says, do you want to come down to La Crosse with me? And I'm like, well, no, I got to work. And I'm like, why? She's like, well, I could use someone to help drive, because it is a long drive. I'm like, oh no, I got extra shifts to do over there because of Memorial Day. And if you get overtime and it's with the holiday pay, you get 2.25. And for years, I'm like, La Crosse isn't that far away. It's only 3.5 hours. Boy, she may not be a good driver. And then I think literally when I was 35, wait a
minute.
Hey, hang on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's happened to me too. Nothing like that, but remember Morp, the prom backwards?
No.
Where the girls had to ask the guys out.
Oh God, that Sadie Hawkins, that never happened. That's like women majoring in engineering. That's not gonna happen.
And so I'm sitting in class or whatever, and this girl is like, I was always helping her with, because I'm smart, I was always helping her with math and stuff. And she's like, hey, DT, has anybody asked you to Morp? And I'm like, I said something in response. I don't know if it was a not yet or I don't think so, or it was something that basically discouraged her from the follow-up, well, do you want to go with me?
Right.
And I was an idiot. I was like, what a moron. I looked back and it's like, she was going to ask me out right there. And I said something dumb in response. So girls, I mean, there is a bit of, we're all clunky and I don't know what the right word is for it. Clunky is probably the best word, where we like somebody, we want to ask them out, and it is a two-way street, and it's almost like this secret language or something. And unfortunately, that's the way that it is. And I think what you're saying is that the older you get, you're just more direct, and your emotions wouldn't be bruised if somebody said, no, I don't want to go out with you. Be like, okay, cool.
Man, I wouldn't even say, no, back in the day, I mean, I would bat 30% if we include people that flaked out. So I got immune. One of the best things men can do is become immune to rejection, where you just ask a girl out, she says no, and you move on. Later on, I found out that's kind of a rare skill where you don't take it personally, but you want to achieve that kind of like salesman level of Zen where you it's a numbers game. And sadly, what that does is it relegates women to kind of like not to automatons. They're not really humans. You're just one more failure I need to get through to get to success.
Right.
And then when a girl says yes, you're kind of like, oh, okay, cool. Now execute sequence, first date B. And
so you weren't cursed with one-itis, which is what
well, I mean, I had crushes, DT, sure.
Yeah, young DT was cursed with one-itis because if I want to do something, I was good at pretty much everything I put my mind to, I achieved, right? In school and in sports and all that kind of stuff. And so I just thought that was another achievement. And so I said, I want that. And then you just go after it. And when you don't notice everything else, all the other opportunities and possibilities. And so I had a serious case of one-itis when I was young. And that's why I didn't date much, because all your efforts, you're just like I don't know.
Did you end up marrying the gal?
Well, that was the second case of one-itis. My first case of one-itis didn't work out. My second case of one-itis, that's Mrs. DT.
Oh, good. You saved a lot of pain and agony.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. No, I had a crush. In the olden days, you got to say, oh, I had a crush on Amy Amundsen. You can't say it anymore because people can look that up. I had a crush on this gal, and this is middle school, and I was terrified of her. Terrified. I've told the story before, where I learned not to be terrified of her because we had assigned seating in the 9th grade. Now, I had a crush on her starting in the 7th grade. So for 2 years,
exactly.
She's coming down one hall. I turn around like, oh God, no, I can't. Oh God, Jesus. Like I'm not a mouse. And I'm trying to think it'd be like the alien seeing Riley. Like, oh my God, this is death incarnate in front of us.
But you liked her.
Oh, I know. I just had a crush on her. I thought she was the most beautiful thing ever. I mean, she's just beautiful. And she was. She's a very pretty girl. And then in the 9th grade, I don't know, Mrs. Johnson, English. I remember it was English. We had assigned seating. And so I'm, first day of class, I come in. Mullet Clary. Can you imagine Mullet Clary, 1989? Sure. Yep. Like 92 pounds.
Too at one point.
Yeah. It's this skinny little twiggy fella walk in with his books. And I look at the assigned seating. Well, there I am. I look right behind me. And there she is. And I freaked out.
But you had to look at your mullet.
I had to what?
You had to look at your mullet.
Yeah, she had to look at my mullet. But I went to the teacher and like pleading for Jesus to spare you from hell. I'm like, you can't let me sit there. I can't do it. You gotta let it. And she was wiser. She's like, well, how about you just try a week? I'm like, oh no, I can't. No, there's no way. Just God, just please, I'll get an A in English. I'll even get an A, please, God, whatever. And then I sat next to her, and she was the dumbest girl I have ever met. I mean, and to the point, I think there was something, maybe alcohol, baby. I'm not saying she was just a ditch. She was really dumb. And now she was dumb but hot, and now she is a wreck. She is a wreck.
That's a sad story.
It's sad, but she kind of deserved it, because what ended up happening is once I realized she was a complete idiot, I was no more intimidated by her and kind of like, oh, wow, I'm not that attracted to her anymore. And then we actually ended up kind of becoming friends, but I still like, oh, well, maybe we could go out and do something. You're a dumb kid. You're horny. And her parents really liked me. Like, oh, yeah, go out with Aaron. You should go out with him. She wanted nothing to do with me. Nothing. It was very clear.
Mullet. She's looking at that mullet.
I had a nice mullet. I had a real good mullet.
Right
spiky hair up front, long thing in the back. Oh, yeah.
The spiky hair up front. Yeah, or the side spike. Remember the side spikes?
No, what were the side spikes?
Well, that was big when we were young. The side spike. So you'd have a mullet in the back. You'd kind of have long on the sides, but there would be a side spike. Like instead of a part, you'd cut it really short there and spike it.
I did not have that. No, we didn't have that. No, not in Wisconsin anyway. Anyway,
so do you need to do some more sponsors? Weren't we doing sponsors?
Yeah, we were doing sponsors, but that's how we roll here. I'm kind of all done with the sponsors. Let me do a shout out. Canto Talk, Silvio Canto, Financial Survival Network.com, the 405 Media, O'Shea Jackson, TJMartinell.com, theblackbrigade.org. You ever listen to that guy?
I actually do.
What a prick.
It's called Quality Check.
Yeah.
I'm one of these idiots that listens to. I talk and then I'll listen to myself because it hones the craft.
Don't listen. No,
I do.
You don't have time. You don't have time.
No. This is the coffee's good mornings usually with Mrs. DT. So not only does she have to listen to me pontificate all day, but then she listens to the podcast too.
Yeah, but I don't. I can see her listening to it because she hadn't listened to it. She didn't do it. It's new to her. You knew what you said. Why do you have to listen to it again?
Because I'm in the same room enjoying coffee with her. So. I don't know. At some point there will come a time where I won't, but I'm still new at this, even with probably over 200 episodes under my belt.
Are you happy when you do this?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes that's all that matters.
Yeah. Sometimes it makes me think more about what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the podcasts are designed for people to think and talk back at me, even though I don't hear them. Right? It's supposed to be like a conversation. Yeah. Sort of.
Okay.
And so sometimes I'll hear myself saying something and something else will occur to me. So I love listening to myself talk.
Listen to the podcaster who likes to hear himself talk. Yeah, the blackbrigade.org.
So narcissistic.
I'm like, people have asked me, like, don't you listen to your stuff? I'm like, no, I know what I said. I don't want to listen. I got other shit to do.
Well, you've got a lot of material, though, too. This is just a once a week thing. So it's not like,
The only thing I'll do when I listen to myself, there has to be somebody else there. It couldn't just be me doing a monologue. I have to have like a conversation. I have to relive a conversation. Is when there's just a dearth of podcasts, like all the podcasters I listen to, like they didn't produce any material because of bad timing. I'm like, wow, shit, things are so bad. I guess I'll go listen to myself talk, because I don't want to listen to music. I don't want to listen to the news. I'd rather, listen to myself again and have a conversation with somebody I appreciate. But yeah,
there are times though when I say something, I'm like, ooh, I might have been too harsh there, or I wonder if that was clear enough what I was getting at. And so then it is useful to kind of listen with fresh ears after the fact, because there are times, I mean, I'm sure sometimes you go, ooh, did that come across? Or maybe, maybe that was
time.
Because you never know when you're talking, you're rolling. It's stream of consciousness, and you don't know if you're being clear or not. So
last night, I think people like humans. They don't want this flawless performance. And if you goof up or, if someone drops an actual racial epithet, I'm like, okay, I've dropped racial epithets before. Doesn't mean I hate the Asians or the blacks or minority or whatever. But what? No one's cut a racial joke. No one in the sense of rage has it. What? Everyone's perfectly calm, cool, and collected, and are saintly like Hillary Clinton and ever. I like it when people like last night the weather guy. He says with a big. He was talking about inches of snow and switching over to wind speeds, and so he's talking inches, and he says the bitches instead of the breezes.
Right.
And I'm like. Okay, I like that. I like him even more now. You don't want this flaw. You know what color a flawless diamond is?
Was it sort of yellow?
No, a flawless diamond.
Flawless.
What color is a flawless diamond?
I don't know.
It's clear. It's not even white. It's clear. There is no color.
Yeah, right.
Well, who wants to look at a piece of glass?
Right.
Give me a flaw. Give me some vice. Give me a character. Give me someone who I'm like, he's human that way too.
Right. Yeah, there's nothing I hate more than, and they seem to be popular, where these videos where they edit out every breath.
Yeah.
It's just, they're constantly moving, because they're editing out every pause, every breath, every stammer.
Right.
You know
who I'd like to hear just raw one time unplugged?
Who?
Coach Red Pill.
I don't know who that is. But.
Well, he's I used to listen to him, and then I was kind of like, I don't know if I have 100% faith in this is legit. But one of the main things that made me question its authenticity is it's perfect.
Right.
The video, he has multiple angles. Now, in fairness to Coach Red Pill, that's his thing. Everyone has their eccentricity or flair. Mine is doing really shoddy work while drinking coffee. That's my specialty. He really likes cameras, and he likes editing. So I understand that, and it's a really polished, a flawless performance. Right. But it's almost too flawless, at least for my taste. Where it's like, geez, Coach, do you screw up? Right. Do you fart? Do you belch? What do you do you have to sometimes use more than 5 pieces of toilet paper because you ate Mexican food? Come on, what happened here? And so it kind of, it's too perfect. It's too clean. This is not someone I can have a beer at a bar with.
Yeah, I get that.
No. So I wouldn't worry about your flaws.
That's probably part of the problem with movies today is that they're too shiny. They're too well put together. We were just watching Lethal Weapon last night, which is I consider to be a Christmas movie.
It is a Christmas movie. Chris Beckloff would disagree.
And the fight sequences and all the things, I keep on pointing out to my kids. I'm like, this is all real. There's no computer graphics. There's there's either a stunt man or somebody's doing it, or it's a model.
Harrison Ford was being dragged by a truck.
Yes, exactly.
He went underneath the truck, holding on to, climbing back up. And in the real life, he did kick the shit out of all those Nazis. That was true, too. But that stunt was real, yes.
And so it's more human. It's more, I don't know. There's something about it that it's not as like grandiose of fight sequences and things like that, but it's all real. And so it just feels better. Mm-hmm. And I think movies today, it's just all the quick cutting and the quick shots and the computer enhanced fight sequences, even the hand-to-hand combat computer advanced. And I was thinking everything nowadays is superheroes, right? And they're fighting and they're superheroes. But back in our day, it was regular guys that were fighting and that could get hurt and that would be bloodied and and there was something better about
whatever that. You didn't. Heck, guys died a lot of times on this stage.
It's better. The whole torture sequence in Lethal Weapon, you really felt like, oh, they're gonna kill these guys because you rub salt in Murtaugh's wound and you feel it. You're like, oh shit, yeah, that doesn't look dramatic, but we know exactly what that feels like. So.
Right. Anyway, yeah, that's enough for the sponsors in the podcast. The Goddamn Bacon. Go to thegoddamnbacon.com for an alternative podcast listening need. What do you got? What story you got?
So the story was related to the millennials, where they're trying to justify their student loan forgiveness with the year of Jubilee of the Bible, right?
I thought they hated Christianity and Jews.
Exactly. It's just like these people are so narcissistic and they think everything is so much about them that they'll pull out of their ass the year of Jubilee law from the Bible, from the Torah, and use it. Do a one-off though. Well, we're going to use the year of Jubilee, but it's just going to be a one-off. It's not going to be a part of our culture.
Oh,
not
no.
And I don't know if you've thought about this story at all, but the whole idea behind the year of Jubilee was every 7 years, all debts were forgiven. Mm-hmm. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Cappy Capitalism, Mr. Economist, but if you had that rule, it would have dramatic effects on lending, risk, interest rates.
Absolutely.
Loan terms. There would be no 30-year mortgages, right? I mean, you can't do the year of Jubilee in a one-off is what I'm saying. You can't use this idea from the Bible of a year of Jubilee to just justify your one-off. We're going to forgive your student loan debt. This was all debts and it affected everything. It was basically their monetary system, right?
Well, I understand.
It played into that.
I understand why God would punish the Jews regularly. That's basically all the Old Testament. You're fucking up. You're not listening. Punishment. Hey, things go well. Okay, good. Oh, what's that golden calf? Punishment. Yes, in the modern day world, if you were to do that, asset prices would collapse because people would just wait 7 years and file for bankruptcy. And Jubilee, you would not buy. And so the finance industry would disappear overnight.
Yes.
You would only do very short-term lending.
Yep. You'd have to allow discrimination because they could default in 7 years. If you're going to lend somebody your money, they have to be a good credit risk. They got to be trustworthy.
Discriminating. You'd have to discriminate based off of their credit. This wouldn't usher in a whole new realm of racism or.
Well, I don't mean racism. I just mean if they can default in 7 years on you, you should have whatever reasons that you would not want to lend out your own money to that person would be valid, because in 7 years, so that there wouldn't be any kind of laws regarding discrimination, because no one
would lend. You would have payday lenders, essentially, or very short-term credit cards, where it's like, yeah, our contract is only 3 years because in 4 years, the 7-year loop is coming up or whatever.
Yes. Yep.
And we have collateral. I mean, your terms would all be under 7 years, and they'd be collateralized to hell. They'd be super collateralized. And if you don't, we have rights to it. But dude, there'd be a housing shortage. No one would be able to afford cars. The used car market would see prices spike to the point you'd almost have remember the Trabi in East Germany?
No.
Okay. The Trabi was this piece of shit 2-cylinder car. Okay. But it was the only car they had, because
like a lawnmower that moves.
Yeah. Yeah. It was the car the Soviets and the Eastern Bloc had. Why was a used Trabi always more expensive than a new one?
Really? Because the quality kept going down or something?
Because the old Trabi existed. The new one, there was such a line and such a back order for them.
Oh, really? Okay.
That a used Trabi on the market, quote unquote, because communism exists and capitalism doesn't exist anywhere else. It just magically keeps forming naturally everywhere. Right. The going rate for a used Trabi was higher than the new list price of a Trabi because it actually existed.
It's like how if you pay out of pocket for a medical procedure, that might be a little bit more expensive than using your insurance, but people do it because they don't have to wait 18 months.
They don't have to wait. Right. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And so when it comes to anything that existed, the cars, no one would go and buy a new car because no one would lend you at 7 years.
Right.
So only it would be for used cars. Fire everyone in Detroit because you're not going to make new cars that much anymore.
But it would all reset, basically. It would be the whole debt-based system would not be able to exist. If your debts are forgiven every 7 years, your debt-based system goes bye-bye.
Goes away. Right. Yeah. And it'd be an all quote-unquote cash or equity society. Yeah. It would all be, do you have cash?
I actually think it would be a great idea if you actually did it every 7 years and all the ramifications that result from that. There would be no national debt. There would
be no national debt, but you would also not have any economic growth. I know we all view debt as bad, but if debt is employed correctly, and you see corporations do this beautifully well, you can leverage it and make lots of money. You can employ lots of people. There's genuine economic production that comes from the efficient use of debt, meaning you pay 3% on the debt, but you make 8% employing it.
But that's what I'm saying, is that if it's every 7 years, there would automatically be the efficient use of debt. Only good credit risks, only solid, you wouldn't have all these
for the short term. But what not everything is 7 years. You got to build a building, a factory, a semiconductor plant. That's going to take 3 years to build. Sure. All right. Yep. Now you need to run it 7 more years. It's a 10-year investment horizon just to get your original return on investment back. And then after that, you start making, that's a 10-year investment horizon. That thing's never built. Right. So everything is a 7-year investment horizon.
Then let's just pick the right year then, the year that makes the most sense. It could be a good thing. Yeah.
No, it's not a good thing because you're endorsing people stealing.
No, that they wouldn't be able to, though, because you wouldn't be lending to people that, and as a result, if you actually went through, I was thinking about this, if you went through the year of Jubilee, everybody celebrates it, right? It was always a celebration.
There's another problem with that.
But if somebody actually did stiff a lot of people, there's memory, and they wouldn't get those loans the next 7 year.
No, because people who filed for bankruptcy back during the housing bubble and had a bankruptcy on the record, the banks didn't just start lending to them within 3 years.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm saying, is that wouldn't happen.
The problem,
if it was a part of the system. There's
another working problem with your idea. You can't have a specific year be Jubilee, because as you approach that year, investment would drastically drop, because now your investment horizon is 10 years, then it's 5 years, now it's 1 year, now it's 2 year. So what would have to be is each loan would have a 7-year Jubilee provision.
Yes.
Which means there is no specific year. Every loan individually has a 7-year sunset period or something like that.
Yeah.
Of which
I think we're getting at my point, though, is that it affects everything. You can't use this as a one-off to oh yeah, they did it in the Bible, they should be able to do it now. I mean, these millennials think the entire world revolves around them, even the fucking Bible.
Well, it's not the Bible. Here's what they really want to do. And this is all Democrats, all leftists, all socialists. They think they're entitled to partially enslave other people to them. That's what this boils down to. The millennials want other people who work and do real production in the world, oil rig workers, truck drivers, Uber drivers, chefs, anyone who does real legitimate production. They want the rest of the people to enslave incremental more parts of their lives to pay them so they could have the college experience. They could have a big 4-year party. That's what the millennials want. So forget the economic arguments or rationality or could this work? Is it possible? No, it's fucking theft. It's fucking slavery, and it's fucking wrong. And I would, if there is a bailout, I will discriminate against millennials. All right. Now I have to find out if they got bailed out or not, but I would discriminate the fuck out of millennials because they are motherfucking thieves then. Not all of them.
Believe these economists are supporting it in this article. Though they're like, well, if you get rid of all this debt and the government takes it on, it's not that much money really compared to the national debt. So they're using our complete irresponsibility on the national debt level to say, well, this is only 5% of the entire national debt. It's not a big deal.
Economists,
so we drove it up to make it
make money. Do you know how economists make money?
Spewing bullshit. Yeah.
Telling people what they want to hear.
Yeah.
They don't make their money predicting things.
Right.
They don't make their money, advocating fiscal, responsibility and how to get the economy to grow.
Yeah. It'll be a fiscal
They make their money like Paul Krugman. They ask what people want to hear and they go and they cook up whatever excuse. They find a reason. Right. And then they back it up with numbers, but there's a spin or there's a caveat. It's not, you are what is the word I'm looking for? Not a salesman, not a showman. You are an artist. If you're an economist,
scam artist.
Not a scam artist, you're an artist. You paint the picture.
Okay.
You create with what is available to you and paint a picture that people want to hear.
Right.
That's how an economist makes his money. You do not report facts. You do not report statistics. You don't apply logic or reason. You first ask, what would you like the numbers to be? What do you want me to be able, what political statement of essentially the theft of others' people money do you want me to go and find the economic data, rationale, and reason, and I will go and do it. Right. And the most masterful person, who is one of the greatest economists in the world, and I do mean this, is Paul Krugman.
Right, yeah.
Son of a bitch. Yeah. That son of a bitch doesn't believe one damn word of what he's saying. Probably but he is a brilliant maestro, a brilliant painter. Who can tell you anything he could provide the economic argument for you to cut off your right arm and people would fucking believe it. That's where he's very skilled.
I think some of these guys that are that skilled, they'll believe their own bullshit. They repeat things so many times to themselves that they actually believe it.
No, you can't. Not Krugman. He is smart. There's no way he believes it. Same thing with Robert Reich. Robert Reich doesn't believe his own bullshit. He's too smart. He's too well spoken. I've seen these guys. Like they know they're smart. They know exactly what they're doing. They're Operation Evil. They know exactly the bullshit people want to hear, and they will sell it. Hey, give me a professorship. Give me the Department of Department of Labor. Head. Yeah. Okay. What do you want me to say? Good. Here's the data. That'll be $250,000 and a golden parachute, please. Thank you very much. And the Jubilee is the same thing. I don't care what the economic arguments are. It's theft. We don't need to even have all the conversation that's been talked about the Jubilee. That's been wasted time, because what it boils down to is theft, period. That's all there is. So on principled grounds alone, no, millennials, you dumb sons of bitches. You took other people's money. Those people need that fucking money. And if you don't return it, not only are you thieves, you're parasites on top of it. And you should lose your voting rights, and you should have no fucking say in anything, and nobody should respect you. And society has every fucking moral right to discriminate you and get as much of their fucking money back as possible.
Yeah, and you know, papering it over with cheaper money is still
that's
theft.
Spreading it. That's
still
now
theft.
that hurts the poor the most.
Yeah,
because now inflation. Geez, why is housing going up? I don't know. Could it be the fucking tripling of the money supply that we just did? Now poor people are priced out. You could have gotten in 2009. Now the stock market, that's overpriced. The dividends and earnings don't warrant it. Oh, look, it's a great economy. Housing keeps going up. The stock market keeps going up.
If it's going up faster on your wages, it's not a good economy.
But people are, again, Operation Evil. Look, I can't fault Krugman or Reich or any of these guys. I can't fault the Democrat, like the pros. I can't fault Obama. I can't fault, I'm trying to think. I can't fault.
You always fault the people that believe it.
Yeah, I can't fault whoever convinced women to spend $3,000 on the shoes that have a red sole underneath them.
Right.
I can't fault Oprah. You almost got to applaud her. You know, if the people are going to pay for stupid lies and shit, they're going to pay. I can't even fault the professors for taking 1.5 trillion from the millennials and then brilliantly getting the millennials to think it's evil white male Republicans.
Right.
That is the cause of fault. Meanwhile, these fucking professors and college admin people drive around in their Lexuses and their Range Rover. Oh, yeah, it's the Republicans. Yeah, they took your money.
Right. But isn't it just the height of narcissism to take something thousands of years old from the Bible? They're basically doing what they criticize Christians of doing, of taking one little thing out of the Bible, right, and saying
cafeteria Christians. Right.
Here's my evidence. Here's why I'm righteous. I'm right about this. Look, the Bible says this. I'm right, and they're doing that to benefit solely themselves. And it's like they're not thinking it through, that if you're actually going to do this, it pretty much, like you said, it destroys our entire system. And we'd have to start over from scratch, and everything would be different.
They don't care about that.
Right.
They don't care. Here's one thing they do care about. If they get bailed out, what will happen to them in history?
If they get, what do you mean?
How they're going to be looked at by history? 500 years from now. Some academic, some historian looks back at the history of the United States. As it stands right now, who's going to take the blunt of the blame for the collapse of the United States?
Oh, they will, right?
No. Who, if you look at the data, who is to blame for the collapse?
The boomers.
Yeah. The boomers. Yeah. Right now, the boomers are, and legitimately so, because it's true, the scapegoats for the collapse of the new Roman Empire.
Right.
If we bail out the millennials, guess what?
Oh, they get it then.
They're going to get it.
Yeah.
Now, one can make the argument that most of their lives are irrelevant anyway, because nobody cares. I mean, they're not going to achieve it. The vast majority of people don't achieve anything. So most people live and die in vain anyway. So this is why you should focus on family stuff like that. But the millennials are vain enough. They think they're smart. They're intelligent. If they get bailed out, they will, while they're still alive. You think the okay boomer hashtag is dismissive. What did you say? Okay, millennial. Right. Like you just stole $1.5 trillion from the American people. I mean, nobody. You think the boomers have no respect? Wait till the millennials get bailed out. You think there's discrimination now against them? Wait till the millennials get bailed out. And if you give a damn about the future, you will die and be remembered as the butt end of all jokes. You will be remembered as, that was the boomers, Gen X, we don't exist. We're a mythical generation. We never even existed. The millennials are going to be the butt end of the jokes. They're going to be the bread and circuses. And whether they have the capacity to have shame in that is even debatable.
Right.
But while they're still alive, just okay, millennial. That will eclipse and overshadow okay, boomer.
if that ever happens, whenever you deal with a millennial, you just turn your pockets inside out and to show them there's nothing you can steal from me.
You could,
I got nothing you can take from me, millennial.
No,
my
sorry,
pockets
millennial.
were sorry.
I'd be on. You know what I would do?
What?
If I'd be honest about this, if I go to a restaurant and there was like, waiter or waitress came up to me and I'm like, oh, did you get that bailout today? Yeah. I'd put zero on the tip and say, fuck you, parasite.
Yep.
And then I would never tip. If I found out,
that's a good idea.
And then if the waiter or the waitress, I paid off my student loans, then they bail everyone out. I give them a big ass tip. Say, thanks for being honest.
Right.
But I would do everything in my power to discriminate against the bailoutees or the bailoutees, the recipients of the bailout. I do everything in my power to fuck them up. Absolutely.
Yeah. You've taken enough from me.
Yep.
No more.
Shall we do some super chats real quick?
Sure. Unless you want to end, did you have something you wanted to talk about as far as the Underdog episode?
Well, I did have something interesting, but let's get through the super chats because we are obliged to these people.
Absolutely. We love money. Or you love money.
I love money. I gave you some shekels. Didn't I pay you out a little bit?
Just recently here?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? I haven't.
Yeah,
I don't even keep track.
Well, shit, why'd I do that? Fuck.
I kind of do wonder why you do it. This is your show.
Troy Kodaleski, $2 for free blood shekels. Thank you, Troy. Juan Cabrera, Cappy, go on Fiverr for the cover of your book. I might.
What does that mean?
Well, the book cover right now, it's a free domain image that I use of the millennials.
Oh, okay.
But the problem is that the individual people within that picture, even though the image itself is free domain, the individual people, models in that picture may not want to be associated with a book that is negative, reflects upon them, not them personally negatively, but their image negatively. And instead of fucking around with getting sued over that, I'm trying to find people to put together a picture of millennials that I can use where everyone's signed away. So if anyone's listening, you want to send a picture of you and your buddies dressed like real douchey millennials, which is going to be hard because anyone listening to this show who is a millennial is not douchey. But if you guys want to dress up, put in fake man buns. My plan right now is to go to the store and get a fake man bun, thick glasses, and me and a couple buddies dress up like millennials.
Sure. It's not hard. They've got a uniform. It's not hard.
It's not hard. Yeah.
They don't have a lot of money either, so you don't have to spend too much money on the costume.
Right. The real trick is I don't know any women fat enough to be a fat millennial chick. So another thing I was thinking is like maybe the guys would dress up like, hair bun and all that. And then I dress like a girl. I pull my hair off to the side, dye it purple, put in earrings and have makeup done. So I'd look like,
you'd be self-identifying as female that day.
Right. But Juan's recommending go to Fiverr, which I might do. But I gotta get the.
Yeah, I guess you have to trust in whatever contract the original free domain picture was taken. Like anybody can use this for any reason.
I even filmed it. No, I filmed it and it says, yes, this is free domain, blah, blah, blah. And I filmed it and put it up on my video channel. So I say, here it is. When I looked at this is free domain. And then people are like, yeah, even though it's free domain, there's still this. And there is. That's the thing with law. Yeah. There's always a thing.
Because, it'd be the original contract with those models from that free domain company that would,
So anyway, Nonstop Dre for 360. Good morning, gents. Cappy Tithes. Blood shekels ran. Have you started drinking this early in the morning yet?
I had a coffee with Bailey's, but I'm not. Okay. No, this is morning, man.
This is morning.
I mean, I guess I could just say the left supports their own. They get all the nonprofit jobs, even if they're criminals and completely discredited. And the right throws their own under the bus. So do what you can to support the people that are saying what you want to say.
If you really want to help out the old Capmeister, just spread the good word of asshole consulting in my books. That's really the best.
That's
thing.
The least you should do. That's the absolute least. It's not that hard.
I don't know if it's the absolute least.
Sharing something on Facebook is nothing.
I would love to do the math. It's impossible to do the math, but I guarantee you, if you get me a new reader, the income that will generate over the course of my life is more than $20.
Absolutely.
So if spreading the word is one of the best things you can do. So but it's an investment of time. You got to like forward my podcast. You got to say, hey, look at this.
Come on. Don't, this is Blood Shekels rant. Okay. You
don't have the energy. You have no fuel, no gas. You're like,
it is not a big deal. It's the minimum you should do. And if it's under your real name, then you need to create a sock puppet account where you can share this stuff. Don't use. Yeah. That's why I'm, Pliskin clause here. I understand. You don't want people knowing what you really think. So that's why you need to make your own Pliskin clause account to share stuff with other Pliskin clauses.
Anyway, chub for $10. Hey, Cappy, can I get your thoughts on the movie trailer Promising Young Woman?
I have no idea what that is.
I don't know. Are we going to get banned? Hang on. What's Promising Young Woman?
Let's see.
YouTube. Oh.
It says
loading.
I'm gonna do Promising Young Woman plot.
Promising. You look it up. You look up what it's about. I'm gonna look up the trailer.
And you're just
Promising
gonna kind of
young woman. Well, he wants the trailer.
The chick.
I don't know. Explain. I don't want to play the. Go ahead. Explain it to me.
Well, the chick Carey Mulligan. She looks familiar to me. I wonder what else she's been in. I'm just gonna click on her first.
Promising young woman.
No, she just is the typical. She's got that typical look that looks like every other actress.
I don't know. It looks kind of bubblegummy because she's like at a sock hop drinking a sarsaparilla. Promising.
It's got Dr. Octopus in it. He's in it, and the bad guy from Highlanders in it.
Well, I never.
I'm just saying it's got some recognizable actors. Okay, so here's the short summary. I'll just read it live here. Nothing in Cassie's life is what it appears to be. She's wickedly smart, tantalizingly cunning, and she's living a secret double life by night. Now, an unexpected encounter is about to give Cassie a chance to right the wrongs from the past. That's pretty vague. Is she a whore at night?
I don't know. The other one says this gal gets revenge on the men who wronged her in the past. Promising young woman. Is it based on a book?
Let's see here. I'm looking at Wikipedia.
Wasn't there some like teenage, like kick-ass chicks who went around saying sayings? It was all these young gals, and they would like go kill people, and it was all feminist. It would have its world premiere at the Sundance Film Festival.
Yeah.
All right, so this is a no-name drama thriller.
Yeah.
Well, what's the
plot, man? That's not enough. I mean, it's like,
how hard is this?
It's from visionary director Emerald Fennell.
Hang on. You know what?
Here's Rotten Tomatoes. It's got a.
All right. Well, what does it say? What do I want to know about Promising Young Woman?
It says no consensus yet.
It doesn't. All we know is there's a gal that goes and.
Okay, here we go. Here's some. Okay, everyone said Cassie was a promising young woman until a tragic event abruptly derailed her future.
She majored in the liberal arts.
Now she's a medical school dropout, living at home with her worried parents and working at a coffee shop with a concerned boss.
All right.
It seems like she is at a standstill, except for the double life Cassie leads at night. So what is that double life? Is she a hitman? Is she a...
maybe she's
a whore?
You don't know. We'll find out later. I'm sure it'll come out. Who knows? You can hire her to kill your ex-boyfriend who stood you up. I don't know what it's going to be. I got to be careful because a lot of times it could be nothing. You know how the right, the conservative, not even the conservative, the new media, there's fake news in the right. They spin it. It's like, that's not what that movie was about. That's not what you spun it to make it sound like they were hating people. So I'm still unjudged on this.
Did you play the video?
No, I don't want to play the video.
I'm just playing it without the sound on now.
To see if play the sound on so everyone can hear.
Oh, no, that's okay.
All right, don't play with the sound on.
You just
Jesus
keep talking.
Christ, don't have chocolate syrup on your ice cream.
I just want to see if I can tell what her secret double life is.
Does she like assassinate people? Is that it?
She's drunk in the beginning of or she's either pretending to be drunk or she's actually drunk in the beginning of the movie trailer. Now she's getting taken advantage of, date rape or something.
Okay, maybe that's not good. She has a right to go and hunt him.
No, she's not drunk. She is fully awake.
Oh, I bet you it's I had drunk sex and that was she raped or was it?
I don't know, but she's got a book where she's saying how many people she's
slept with.
Or done the sting operation. She's pretending to be drunk to get date raped, and as they start to date rape her, then she has them by the balls. Basically.
Is that what it is?
Yep. So I don't know if she is. She might be extorting money from him or something. There's no violence yet, but all the guys try to get with her, and then she shows she's fully sober, and they're all scared. So this looks like
okay. Yeah. It so far it looks like
terrible.
It looks like it. Well, let's put it. It looks like another wedge driven between the sexes.
Yeah,
this looks like another victimhood movie
that we're all just looking for some drunk woman.
Oh yes, yes. This will not bring men and women closer together. This will just re-solidify or reconsolidate what everyone in their own camp believes. That is, women will believe that men are all rapists and dirty and all that. Men will be even like, wow, they made a movie about this, and men are just gonna be driven away. I don't know. So this is a nothing burger. This is just the repeat. This is just more of the same, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Payback never looked so promising. That's the tagline.
Oh, Payback. Okay.
Payback never looked so promising is how it ends. And
Nonstop Dre 360. I tell girls that approach me, I won't spend money on them or waste my time with them unless we're having sex, and works wonders. Yet again, I'm 6'1". Well, yeah, Dre's Mr. freaking good looking guy. And thoughts on the 83-year-old woman on Tinder? Oh yeah, we gotta look that up. 82 year. I don't know.
What does that even mean?
Woman Tinder. Okay, so it's from The Sun at the UK, which is a what's it called?
They talk about aliens and stuff.
It's fake news, more or less. Mind the gap. Would you date this 82-year-old Tinder grandma who has sex 3 times a week, is bombarded with offers from men under 35? What?
Because she's rich, maybe?
No, it's that debate is like, is it really that desperate? Are men really that hungry? Haiti, 82, goes on 3 Tinder dates a week with toy boy lovers, decades or junior, and claims, I've never met a man who doesn't want to fuck me. Do you remember when grandmas were just really nice? Do you remember when grandmas would just make you cookies? And
this is a boomer grandma, right? They have to
this is the
still act like they're young. Or at least an early boomer, I think.
This is just boomer. Clickbait, but
is that how hard up guys are?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, here's a picture of a guy. He's 39. Oh God, he's kissing her. Oh Jesus. Okay, all right.
People have fetishes, right? It's kind of disgusting. Aren't most fetishes disgusting by definition?
I don't know.
If it's called a fetish,
I got a fetish for big boobs. I think,
but that's not a fetish. That's perfect. That's pretty normal. I would say a fetish is like a weird thing, right? And
yeah,
most
like
of them are disgusting.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Go on Fiverr. Scrolling down, we may be done with this. Chum.
There's the bearded Nemophilist.
Let me get there, because remember, if you have the command
have YouTube
center,
up.
Yeah, there it is, $2. Don't give any to DT since he doesn't seem to care. his blood shekels rant was really shit. It was really leftist helping out right wingers, throw you under a bus.
I understand why you're giving me money, because you're a fair person, right?
You're a fair person,
but you don't have to.
No,
That's what I'll just say. I appreciate it. Thank you. But you don't have to.
Yeah. What else do we got? I got a fan mail. I don't know how much. I got about half an hour left. California, they have a solution to their problem of homelessness. You know what it is?
Is it giving them a ticket to somewhere else?
No, they think they're going to put them on a cruise ship.
A cruise.
And we're not going to
go. Booze cruise. It's a booze cruise.
Here's how dumb journalism is and how dumb the people are that journalists report on. Is you don't need to read the whole article to know this is bad idea, Jeans.
So I'm going to look out of. Do you have the article?
Oakland, California. Rebecca Kaplan was reading an old article about hurricanes when she got an idea. Now we're going to look up Rebecca Kaplan here in a moment and see if she's ever worked a real job in her life, and if she happens to have a degree in actuarial science. The violent windstorms typically aren't a concern for the Oakland, California City Council president constituents, but a creative solution for housing the storm victims caught her eye. If a cruise ship could be used as emergency housing in natural disasters, maybe they could be used to help Oakland's emergency homelessness. Why is this already a bad idea, DT? On many levels, why is this already a bad idea?
I mean, cruise ships are disgusting enough with paying customers, right? There's always like
Norwalk
disease.
virus. How many articles? Like the entire ship was puking. I mean,
right? They're bad enough when people spend thousands of dollars to be on them. What do you think they're going to look like when? Oh, here's where we're housing you,
dude. That would immediately. There was like this horror film. It had Donald Sutherland, an old Donald Sutherland in it, where an experimental ship had gone wrong and some kind of alien technology had taken it over and all the human, it was just, and that's what I'm imagining this is going to happen. This is going to be such a petri dish of shit and disease. Everyone, dude, you could send that thing out in a week. You could send it out with all the food in the world.
Yep.
They're going to die. They're going to, oh God, who's going to babysit?
Oh my God. Oh, yeah, the disease cruise.
The housing crisis in the city that sits across from Bay at San Francisco has resulted in a surge of tent encampments along city sidewalks, under freeway overhangs, public parks. Latest count, more than 4,000 people are experiencing homelessness in a city of just over 400,000, up 47% in 2 years. Yeah, there's Rebecca Kaplan.
It looks like a guy, right?
It looks like a guy.
Yeah.
And we can already, let's just look up.
Sort of almost looks like Negan in Walking Dead.
Rebecca Kaplan.
Are we sure?
Here we go.
She was originally a female.
No, it's a guy. It looks like a guy. Member Democrat Party, blah, blah, blah. Ran for mayor, third place. Balancing budget measures. Cutty times with ICE. Election history.
Normal stuff.
Personal. Kaplan is bisexual and has been identified by a lesbian in the press.
Okay. That's not a surprise based on this picture.
It's not well, but it. I'm trying to find her bio. I guess okay. Education.
Her biology? That's what you're trying to find, is her biology?
No, her bio. Her bio. She went to Stanford Law, Tufts University, but then went to MIT.
Wow. Okay.
Here's a bunch of articles about him coming out.
Him? It is a transgender?
No, DT, you can look at him. It is a guy.
What?
This is not a woman.
Okay. See, it's clown world. I mean, you can't. Oh my God.
I'm just trying to find out.
I got to start using a female avatar.
Dress code. Cross-dressing was made illegal in 1879 in Oakland. That's what this article is about. And so this article, this multi-page article, is about how she helped it get it repealed. It wasn't even being enforced.
Stop saying she. Stop saying
what?
She.
It doesn't matter. I don't care. I just want to. Okay, I don't care. Hang on. I don't care.
So this cruise ship would be after the homeless have stayed on it at port. You could advertise for normal people to be on it to boost their immune system. Right. They'd just be around pathogens, and automatically it boosts your immune system on the homeless, the Tent City cruise ship.
She's been working in politics since 2002. Earned a bachelor's of science at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Okay, so
it makes sense tragic. That a guy. It makes sense that a guy would go to MIT.
Well, I just it's kind of sad. This reminds me of Phyllis Kahn. Remember Phyllis Kahn?
Yeah.
All right, big Marxist leftist boomer who got kicked out by the Somalis in her council. She had a degree in
cisgendered woman, right?
Whatever, but Phyllis Kahn had a legit degree. This woman, man, whatever, has a legit degree, and then they wasted their talents. Now she has a master's in urban arts and environmental policy and a Juris Doctorate from Stanford Law School. And I don't know how you can go to MIT and think that this is a good idea to put, I don't know.
Well, if you're confused about your gender, I think you're going to be confused about everything.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, well. Let's go.
That's not too, that for older brother, that statement wasn't too YouTube ban worthy, was it?
Well, no, because that's your opinion, not necessarily mine.
It's not necessarily the opinions of older brothers.
No, it's not. It's not my opinion.
You got to have that disclaimer.
I'm very libertarian. I don't care what you want to be. Right. And I encourage you, if you think you're male and you want to be female, then go. If you want to have your surgery, go. I mean, I have a very hands-off. My approach to it is very much like abortion. I don't think it's good, but I don't care if it's that important to you. It's your body. You go do what you. I'm even willing to go so far. You want to be called ma'am? All right, fine. I'll call you ma'am. Whatever. But
out of respect, sure.
Out of the individual's respect, right? Yeah. But don't tell me that there's nothing wrong with you. Right. And don't you dare tell me what public policy should be, because now I question your judgment. And now, and this doesn't have anything to do with politics. This is, do you know what you're doing? You're in charge of this department or this budget. Yeah. How effective are you going to be for the taxpayer? Where your constituents are predominantly leftists in Oakland, the politics really have nothing to do with this. And then there's also a concern where, what was it? So I forget what it was. People who want to get the surgery, 4 in 10 attempt suicide.
Right. Yeah. It's not
so for their own sake, I'm like, God almighty, guys, maybe there's a mental problem. I'm not saying you can't, by all means, but please go talk to a therapist. Right. And this has nothing to do with it. That's not an ism or an ist. It's an actual genuine concern and care. Like, guys, let's set politics aside for a second. Yeah, I know you're going to vote for the tuberculosis boat. Okay, that's fine. Question about your judgment and your ability. You think that's good? What? I'll give you am I a big fan of the homeless?
No.
I made damn sure I wasn't homeless. I suffered and endured. I made sure I wasn't homeless. At the same time, why would I be against the tuberculosis boat? What is guaranteed to happen if we have the tuberculosis boat going and exchanging our fecal material? The tuberculosis boat. What's going to happen in a week? That thing goes out for a week. What's going to happen?
Well, it just stays at port.
Okay.
So it's even worse.
What's going to happen on the boat? The end result is going to be what on that boat?
The boat's going to get destroyed, right?
Death. They're all going to die. Right. Or they're going to get the worst disease that the worst person has. It's going to go lowest common denominator very quickly. And people are going to die. I do not necessarily want that to happen. That's why this is a bad idea. So I'm not this total tyrant and evil person. But
the evil side, the dark side of DT says, put them on the boat and put them out to sea and forget about them. That's this,
It's not even a moral point I'm trying to make. It's one of logic. I'm like, is anyone thinking this through?
This could easily be put to nefarious purposes. Easily. Yeah. You got a bunch of homeless people that don't have any ID. You put them on a boat, and we're going to keep it at
next port of call.
We're going to keep it at port, but it's not a short step to say, well, we'll put them out to sea. And then it's an even shorter step to, wow, this boat just happened to hit an iceberg and sink. I mean, it could easily be put to nefarious. I'm talking about Operation Evil.
No, they're their own worst punishment. Got a fan mail here.
Okay.
Mike writes, "Hi, Aaron. Actually, I had something come up in the meantime. A girl I know who just turned 35 shared this on her Facebook wall. It was then shared by additional girls I know who are single and in the same boat. The article itself seems to be nothing but opinions and feelings, no fact." Well, that's all writing about dating. "If anything, it's an example of the lies you speak about. Just stresses how lucky we are to have come across your content, Rolos, etc. As Chad called them in the recent podcast, this is the oncoming leftover generation, a group we have never had in society. Be great to have a video to help reinforce this to those of us who are slightly more enlightened." So I pulled it up here. You want to take a break real quick? I got about 20 minutes. I'm going to go gargle with some stuff, and we'll call it an end after I read through this.
Sure.
All right, let's do that. I'm going to take a break. Get my coffee.
I can talk a little bit.
The tuberculosis bowl, spreading your piss and your feces everywhere.
That's pretty good.
The tuberculosis bowl.
It's a little too many syllables, though, for the Love Boat. What's a better word? The Love Boat. The Filth Boat. The Filth Boat. So he's going to gargle. Just couldn't make it another 20 minutes. And get some more coffee. Old DT, the coffee's good. The coffee's good. That basically means, who is John Galt? That basically means, what are you going to do about it? There's nothing you can do. It's kind of a nihilistic statement from my perspective. The coffee's good. But old DT, I've been drinking too much coffee lately and getting old. Oh, the heartburn. You can't do it. You can't have too much coffee. Best in moderation when you get to DT's age. So I've had to cut back to 1 coffee a morning instead of my usual 2.
The tetanus boat.
The tetanus boat. There you go. See, I was saying, Cappy, I was saying that's tuberculosis boat. That's too many syllables.
How about the tetanus boat? No,
tetanus, love. I was thinking the filth boat.
The filth boat. Something and something, a Scooby-Doo.
Exactly.
All right. This is from the Hearty Soul.
More coffee, huh?
More coffee. Yeah, and then I gotta go. I gotta take a shower. GF is gonna swing on by for lunch. This is from theheartysoul.com. You're allowed to have a baby after 35. DT, are you allowed to have a baby after 35?
Who is allowed?
Well, women. Are women allowed to have a baby? Is anybody allowed to have a baby after 35?
It might be very, very difficult, and your baby might have all kinds of problems.
Are there armed guards? Is there the anti-baby after 35 brigade?
No.
No one's stopping you.
No.
This has got a lot of pictures.
In fact, if you spend enough money, you can pretty much have a baby almost whenever, but it's very risky.
Right.
So,
women who conceive after age 35 are often known and referred to as advanced maternal age. If you haven't heard this medical term before, you've likely heard that waiting too long to have a baby is risky.
It is.
Why are women now waiting until they are in their 30s or 40s to start a family? There is not one answer to this question. There are plenty of reasons why motherhood is now taking place at a later stage in life. It takes time to build a career, create a home, find a healthy relationship, and secure a stable financial status. These values are all important to those who are looking to start a family. This is another reason my book is going to sell so well. Pregnancy over the age of 35 has always been remarked as dangerous and risky. However, it's not like everything is fine at 34 and then something magically switches at 35. Now science is finally coming around to the fact that having a baby after 35 can be beneficial. See, it's beneficial now, TT.
Oh my God. What's science?
I'm going to write a book. Operation Evil is going to write a book called How Menopause is a Myth. And even though that is a blatant lie, it will be a bestseller.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be considered as a deterrent for healthy women. Compared to a couple decades ago, there's been quite a change. Birth rates for women in the age of 35 to 39 have skyrocketed since the 70s. Typically, women in their 30s and 40s are generally healthy enough to conceive. The National Center for Health Statistics says that this is now the fastest growing group of women who have children. Yeah, and it's without dads. Even in the media, we're seeing more and more women announce pregnancies after the age of 35. Carrie Underwood has announced recent pregnancy at age 35. Halle Bailey had her first child at 41 and her second 47. A new Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle, announced her first pregnancy at 37. No matter the age or stage in life, having a baby could be a little scary regardless. However, medically speaking, it's not unusual anymore for women to wait a little later to start or continue a family, and in many cases, it isn't even more difficult. There are many ongoing studies on the subject. One particular study in the New England Centenarian, when they do a C-section, found that having a baby later in life can actually help you live longer. Because fuck the kid, right? The kid may come out with Down syndrome, but as long as you live longer. Another research paper called Feeling Old versus Being Old has found that having a baby when you're older may help you live a happier and more carefree. May. Do you believe any of these studies, DT?
No, I don't. And I was just thinking as you're talking, the anti-vaxxers like to say that the rates of autism are up because of vaccines, right? Well, maybe the rates of autism are up is because more women over 35 are having kids.
I disagree with both. I guarantee you it is because there is no dad around. And
could be a combination. But the legitimate if legitimate autism rates are up. I'm not disagreeing. I'm not ruling it out. I'm just saying fathers are very key. Because you can look at somebody and know if they legitimately
I have a friend, and he convinced me because I was still on the fence. I'm like, okay, I know Rain Man had something wrong with him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could convince me of autism, but then he showed me his daughter and like, oh yeah, there's something wrong there.
Yeah.
But for every one of those, I still say there's 10 fakes and posers.
Sure.
I'm just doing it. Raising a baby also does wonders for the adult brain. Well, then why are they outsourcing them immediately to daycare? Like, it's just fuck. You can't even make. You can't.
So this is narcissism. This is just a display of huge narcissism, not thinking about the kids at all.
See, here's a study. A study says, well, then it must be true.
Right.
And the Journal of the American Geriatric Society shares how teaching and watching your baby learn and grow has been shown to improve your memory, mental reasoning, and problem-solving skills, all of which keep your brain sharp. Unfortunately, hang on, it's not done. Unfortunately, most of us being grade A careers Kawanta will never see our children grow up because we hired nannies. I added that. So if you're inching closer to 35 or 40 and haven't started a family yet, try not to stress. You could still achieve a healthy pregnancy in this advanced maternal age. Science confirms. She cited a bunch of studies. Remember, it's 1 week, salt is bad for you.
Yes.
The next week, it's the greatest thing. Then it's bad, but then it's good. And fat is bad. And fat is good.
Right.
And I want to know who did these studies. And here's the other thing. The study themselves, when I did the research for the numbers chapter of the millennials, I had to be very clear what they said. Suggests, indicates,
right,
hints to.
Not conclusive.
Not conclusive, right. It's like the ancient aliens guys. It could be aliens. I guess it could be aliens. Yeah, okay. Science confirms that conceiving at a later stage in life is not only doable, but the experience may even come with added benefits. Keep your body healthy and focus on building the life you want. You're allowed to have a baby after 35. DT, what is the correct response to this?
I mean, you can, but it's better to have babies earlier, clearly.
No, there's the incorrect answer. Okay. Incorrect answer.
Well, you're going to do an Operation Evil answer, which it's like, ladies, wait. You can wait as long as you want.
What? Are you going to stop?
No.
No. Are you going to convince women of biological reality? We couldn't convince them to stop majoring in stupid shit. Are you going to convince them of this?
No.
Are you going to convince them to eat the broccoli when someone's selling them ice cream?
No. So this is like Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. This article is the new hope of being able to have a family in advanced age.
So
you could be that 83-year-old. You could be that 83-year-old.
Yeah. You could be the 83-year-old. Right. So what's the correct response?
Just let them do it. Let it burn.
There's several correct response, but the correct answer is let it burn. Okay. Yeah. The correct answer is to not even get worked up about this, boys. Don't even get worked up about it. I know it's like seeing someone about to take a hammer and hit their hand. You're like, hey, wait a minute. to get to the level of Zen, to get to the level of Cappy, you need to do. We are totally ohming out. Just let it happen. Because I need to enjoy the show. People who believe this, are they libertarian, conservative, traditionalists who are pro-America and small state and pro-freedom?
Not at all.
Nope.
They live in filthy Democrat, blue leftist shithole cities, and they hate us.
The statement that you can go and live your life, what does that tell you right there about their incentives and their moral focus?
Well, it's all about them.
It's all about them. DT, do you love your children more than you love you?
Oh, I love my children more than I love Mrs. DT. I mean, that's just that's the you love your spouse, and then you realize, holy shit, the love gets even stronger with your own kids. So
the only form of love is when you love somebody else more than you. That is only how love can, and that person loves you more than they love themselves. That is the only way love can occur. And if you are obsessed about yourself and you view how do they view their children, DT?
Oh, they're just a status symbol. That's all. They're going to make my brain chemistry better. I'm going to live longer. Me new experiences. That usually is done by being a grandparent. That's of course that's why they have nursing homes. They'll have kids visit, or they'll bring the nursing home people to the school, and they'll interact with the little toddlers and the little kids and stuff, because it is good for you. Yeah.
The children, if they have them. Now, the real victim here is going to be the children, because they will be mal-attended to. They will not be raised. Mommy's got to go get her MBA or whatever. The kids will be fucked up. They will make their mother's lives hell. I don't even think there's going to be a dad around.
No. Well, this is, if you're waiting that long.
Yeah.
This is like sperm bank type stuff.
Yeah, this is sperm bank, because now 35, you can be attractive, but I won't lie. I'm still looking at the 28, 29-year-olds. That really hasn't changed much. It's over. And you don't need to get angry. You do need to shed a tear for the children. There is actually a real victim here. And that is going to be any children, unfortunately, you brought into this. But just enjoy the show, guys. Enjoy the show. Let it happen. I am just amazed at the lies that lie tell. I just find it such a fascinating insight into human psychology. Just wow, you are completely incapable of taking any external stimuli or evidence and incorporating that into your thinking. You are so myopic, so solipsistic. You only really think you're the only variable here. Everything else is just going to bend to your will, and men are not a factor. I really invest your money. I'm probably going to do this. I got to go and find out what publicly traded companies are involved in the frozen egg industry.
Sure.
Or the IVF industry. I do. We could call it the Spinster Mutual Fund. We just invested cats, wine, and IVF.
Yeah. Yeah. Veterinary clinics or whatever. Yeah.
Chris in Phoenix, thoughts on male bodybuilder marrying a pleasure doll. Was that another Sun Times? I bodybuilder. We also have to keep in mind, guys, that there are mentally ill people out there.
Yes.
It's not married to a bodybuilder.
Well, there's our favorite movie, or one of our favorite sci-fi creations is Firefly, right? Remember?
Yeah, what about it?
There was in the movie sequel Serenity, there was the whatever Mr. Universe who married his love bot. That's a part of that movie. You don't remember?
But that was like down the road where they're like,
they basically look completely human and they interact, and
actor and bodybuilder Yuri Tolocho popped the big question to his girlfriend Margot, sex doll. There's something wrong.
Or that's just publicity.
Or it's just
stunt,
shtick.
right?
That's just a publicity stunt. Yeah, that's. I'm not going to resort to that as a publicity stunt. That's it. That's all we got. You want to plug your shit?
Sure. I podcast at blackbrigade.org. I've also got a YouTube channel called Black Brigade right now. And it's a weekly podcast where I just do my thing. And, why
was that the big epiphany on the other one? Was it just that the report came out and you didn't believe there was a God anymore, so now you're free? Was that the short?
No. Well, it's not that I don't believe that there's a God. It's just that it seems obvious. I know you probably go, well, duh, DT. That's
I tuned
obvious.
out because it was politics. I couldn't handle it. Not that your presentation was bad. It's just I was not in the mood to listen to politics.
Okay. And what I was trying to get across, and why this was kind of turning a corner for me, is that all these feelings that I've had, all these expectations, all these kind of looking at the world and going, what the fuck, God, was because I became a Christian. I thought I was entering this reality, right? That was the true reality.
Right.
And after all this time, I finally realized I've been kind of raging at God. And I think I realized that I was going through the stages of grief of the death of that God. And I finally reached the acceptance stage where not only is that God dead, he never existed in the first place. All these things are a result of me kind of going down this path of that being the reality. And it was a weird feeling to realize, holy crap, all of this is due to me getting on my knees and saying, I'm a Christian. And you expect there to be a difference. And when there's no difference, like all these things that happen to me, they wouldn't be in that system. You wouldn't be viewing these events with that kind of philosophy, kind of, this is the way it should be. And here's how it's not
expectation.
Right. Yeah, expectations and random things happening to you are just random if you don't think that there's
so you have achieved atheism is what you're saying.
I don't know if
or there might be a guy out there, but he doesn't give a shit. He's not here.
Well, and maybe he does give a shit, but he can't do anything. But it's just chance and choice. In this reality, it's chance and choice. Things happen to you because of chance or because of other people's choices or a combination of the two. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time when this guy chose to do this to me.
I met these two guys when I ended up becoming friends over the internet. I got to hang out with them on the podcast. Jeez, that was a bad time going to Brit's Pub. A bad choice.
Exactly. So and it does feel different. I feel like I've been reading Nietzsche, and there's the Zarathustra that comes down out of the mountains and says, God is dead, God is dead. And I'm kind of taking that one step further and saying, no, he was never alive.
No.
And so a little further down that Nietzschean path, which is interesting.
Cool. I have the correct answer, and this is what makes me one of the greatest economists as well. I don't know. And so
yeah, exactly.
And I long gave up when I was told I was going to burn in hell at 4 years old because I didn't believe in some pedophile looking long-haired motherfucking hippie who died many, many years ago. That if I didn't believe in him, that I was going to burn. I'm like, yeah, not a good sales pitch. Not to a 4-year-old.
You know what's exciting and life affirming for a truth seeker?
What's that?
I don't know. Oh. That statement alone gives you purpose, right? Since you don't know, you seek out the truth. I mean, as long as you're seeking the truth.
To seek out the truth. I'm really looking forward to a hedonistic lifestyle if I make the New York Times bestseller. I really there'll be a lot of video games and a lot of an old Mustang and an old donk. I'm gonna get myself an old pimped out donk. And then I'm gonna do the same shit I've been doing.
But I don't know is exciting. It's
nothing's exciting. Nothing excites me anymore, DT.
Oh,
nothing.
Come on.
Just hanging out with my buddies, driving across the country, hanging out. So now I'm gonna fly first class. That's about the one luxury I think I will afford. Is if I make millions, I'm gonna fly first class to my buddies' places. I'm like, hey, how's it going?
But didn't it excite you to find out all these things about the millennial generation when you were doing all your research?
It did, but it wasn't fun. I had to research and write. And it's not like I did. You know what? It's the most complete. I'll say this, and I'm going to close out.
Sure.
Chapter 2 or 3, the one where it's like 40 pages of data and charts, was completely unnecessary. You know why? Because deep down inside, everyone knows the millennials suck. Even the millennials know they suck. But you see, I have to go through this horse and pony show, which took almost 3 weeks to write and do all the research to prove. Because someone's going to, that's not true. And even now with all the empirical data, well, you see, you didn't carry the one. If that is like, dude, your generation is asking for a bailout and they ain't even 35 yet. Go fuck yourselves. But you see, I have to write that. So it's this obligation that I don't. It wasn't fun. It wasn't exciting. There's very little in my life left over that's new or unique because I've explored everything for the past decade.
But you didn't get excited when you saw the first picture of a black hole ever photographed?
That was okay. Like that. Yeah.
Yeah. The flyby by Pluto where they, holy shit.
Yeah, that was kind of neat. Yeah. Okay. And then 15 seconds later, you're back to,
Yeah, exactly. You're back to, how do I get the girls?
Not that. No, I'm way past that.
No, but I meant other people.
Yeah. So. Anyway, if you'd like to help out the old show, as we said before, just share. That's all you have to do is tell people about the old Capmeister and DT. Share the books. Books, by the way, make a great purchase. A great gift for Christmas. So we got Bachelor Pad Economic, Worthless, Reconnaissance Man. Just search Aaron Clary Amazon author page. You'll see all the different books I have out there. But you can go to olderbrother.com/donate. 3 ways you can help out. 1, a straight donation to PayPal. You get nothing for it. I don't recommend it, but I'll take free money. 2, you could become a patron member, which you get access to all the behind the paywall, behind the scenes stuff, which includes my the cutting floor stuff that didn't make it into the book but was still written real well. Mary Jo's pinups, and then the podcast, the road trip podcast, where I kind of randomly podcast if I'm hiking or driving somewhere. So it's just something that you get because it's like, well, you guys are donating money. I was like, give you something, and everybody just and then access to Sanity is the Future of Wealth, which is my best post I've ever written that nobody really gave a shit about. So that's actually worth reading unto itself. And then the best way to help out, especially during the Christmas time, is to do all your shopping online through my Amazon affiliate program, olderbrother.com/donate. The last link, the Amazon logo, click on that. It takes you to Amazon. You just do your shopping. I get a 6 to 7% commission and cut on all your purchases. You do not pay extra. Jeff Bezos just gives me a check for sending traffic his way. And if you could get into the good habit of doing all your shopping online there, that is a great way to help me out because it doesn't cost you anything for stuff you're going to buy anyway. You just have to get into the habit of going there first. And DT, do you use this to do your Amazon shopping?
No, you got to use your computer.
Be an old boomer. Be an old Gen Xer and use the fucking computer. Don't use this thing because it doesn't count. So that's it.
That's it.
Will you take us out appropriately for both you and me?
Dismissed and toodles.